Please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my beautiful co-host, John Luke Garofalo and Andrew Cooper. What's up, boys?
Good morning.
What's up, dude? How we doing?
Good morning. Good morning. I was finishing your song for you, JL.
Beautiful.
You didn't finish the last two lines right there. It's going pretty well this morning. I got a little morning rasp right now, so bear with me. It's gonna go. It's gonna be a little sultry coming from Simon today.
Sultry Simon.
We got Tommy in the chat saying, "Yo, yo, yo! Time for the show." He comes in with that rhyme every single day. What's up, Tomo the Bomber? Welcome in. And Craig in the chat saying, "Early AM salutations, friends. Early AM salutations to you as well, Craig." Guys, thanks for tuning in bright and early this morning.
Escargot.
Escargot. It is Wednesday, my dudes, which means it's time to get ready for week 8. Wednesday's the best non-football day because I feel like we're sitting there and we're just ready to go for Thursday. Like I got all the energy I need. I got a full day to prep all my lineups. Everything's
got that hump day hype.
Got that hump day hype.
To wake up, see what you got on Christmas waivers. You know what I mean? See what came through for you. Did you guys get our boy TT Turbo in any leagues anywhere?
I didn't get any TT Turbo. I was outbid in the 2 leagues that I put bids on him for, and didn't get him. I did get 1 share of Mr. Wandale Robinson, though. So I got 1 share of Mr. Wandale, and I'm excited to put him on my bench and not start him next week, as I hope that he gets a larger snap percentage, because I'm not starting a guy who only played 14 snaps yet, unless it's an emergency. Guys, there was some news that went down this past week. Jim Irsay said he doesn't care if Snyder might have dirt on other owners. He can investigate me till the cows come home. I'm not going to back off. This came from by Lindsey H. Jones on Twitter. When asked if there are 24 votes, Irsay said, "I think potentially there will be." We've talked about this before, but I hate Dan Snyder. I hope he gets removed as an owner. I don't think it's good for the NFL that he owns a team. But if he wants to take some other garbage out with him on the way out, I'm totally cool with it. I will cheer for him whistle blowing away to get these other shitty owners out, as long as it doesn't save his ass. Like, as long as Dan Snyder's not saved in this mess, I don't care if he rats out 10 other managers, right? Like, it doesn't matter if it's the owner of whatever team you cheer for. You should be happy if other people get exposed and taken out of this league.
As long as he only gets Bob Kraft and we get to keep like Robert Kraft. Like if he cleans house on everybody, we have to find a new owner. That'd be so annoying. Let's just, let's keep it to 1. All right.
Keep it to just 1. Jolly Rancher in the chat saying good morning. In the trap.
Mama Grunewald.
Mom, get out.
Down. I was thinking more like young Jeezy. Like she's up in here, like it's going down.
What I heard, yeah.
What's up, Mom? Welcome.
Good morning, cute guys. Perhaps not. Yeah, perhaps
I'm a
not.
G running the trap house.
Perhaps not Jeezy. Maybe not what Jeezy would say, but maybe.
I think it's about what Jeezy would say. I think
that's your show.
It's pretty hard. Pretty hard right there on this
pretty
hump
hard
day. Man, when I worked at a summer camp and I was responsible for a class of 4-year-olds, right? Like I was, as a college student, solely responsible for upwards of 24-year-olds during the week, writing lesson plans, running camp. It was a lot. And then it became too much the second that Hump Day commercial got released, that Geico Hump Day commercial. Every Wednesday became borderline unbearable when you have 24-year-olds who have all seen the same Geico Hump Day commercial, because that's funny. That's really funny, apparently, to just run around screaming it's Hump Day at every other 4-year-old you've ever seen for days and days on end.
Still do it as a 28-year-old.
You would be shocked it never gets old. You can just say it 100 times over and over again every single week, all summer.
24-year-olds and then also 24-year-olds. It's pretty much everybody like JL, for instance, doing it. It's pretty much everybody doing that. So let's just not even bring it up. There it is. Perfect.
I already said it. Now it's going to be stuck in your head. You're going to have to say it the rest of the time. We got J Wall in the chat saying last day in Bali, then I have to come back to you knuckleheads. Well, enjoy your last day, man. Because it's going to be hell when you get back. I'm just kidding. We're excited to have you back, J Wall. Can't wait to get you back over there. And Tommy says, where are those 4-year-olds now? Would love to see how you shaped their future. You know what?
5.
They're aging really slowly. It's been 4 years, but they've only aged 1 year. There's some
Still loving the hump day commercial though.
still loving the hump day
Still
commercial.
slaps.
Dude, what's funny is that you make fun of them for that, but you guys just do the whole what's that, but like, like last week. So I think that every generation has their own hump day commercial.
That's
Oh,
fair.
for sure.
Dude,
For sure.
we lost it at that. That was we absolutely lost our minds at that commercial. I'll never forget watching it for the first time.
Like collectively, the whole world just like
Very important commercial.
All we
What's
talked
that?
about at school the next day.
everybody, like I think every person in the world said "What's that?" at
What's
least
that?
once after that came out. Like it was universal. I think we bring it back. That
Dude, what,
how hyped would
how-
you be if you were watching the Super Bowl and that commercial came back on? They did like a
that would be.
throwback.
Why haven't they done
I
that?
think it's time, dude. I think it's time.
It's absolutely time. Having that stamp on the world, right? Like you created that. That was your masterpiece. People are still talking about it. To
It
this
has
day.
to be
Like
the
that-
right amount of time, though, right? Like it has to be
Yeah.
the right. I think it's been long enough. Like there are certain songs that are like that too. Like I think it's been long enough. We can bring back like Soulja Boy now, right? Like we can bring back
Yeah.
some of those songs, but you
Yeah,
have to wait
Soulja
the
Boy is
right amount of
fantastic.
time.
Every bar and bat mitzvah I ever went to. Sleep. Was it Soulja Boy?
Superman, that
That's one of those
Yeah.
songs. Like whenever it comes on, all of a sudden, like you're like, man, I didn't even like this song that much. And by like the second,
Better go dance.
by like the
Like,
second verse, you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're over there like cranking it. You're like,
I don't even want to do this. But I'll do it again.
you got to do it. You can't help it. It pulls it out of you.
my wife,
Um,
my wife and my sister-in-law love that song, but they like to put it on and then instead of doing that regular dance, they do the electric slide to it, and it goes literally perfectly. It might go more perfectly with the words than the actual Soulja Boy dance, like the electric slide.
That is hilarious.
We got Craig in here updating him on a waiver wire situation. He said J-Wall bid $105 for Taylor Heineke in a league. So I get to start Skylar Thompson, Joe Flacco, Chase Daniel, or Jordan Love again. 20-team league. I am 0-6. My hopes were pinned on Trey Lance. And then J-Wall comes in and just steals Taylor Heineke from Craig.
Absolutely brutal.
A 20-team league. I hope it's not super flex. Otherwise, you are in big trouble. That would be absolutely absurd. We had some more news. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers star Tom Brady shed light on his struggle with the work-life balance while talking with Kevin Durant on this week's episode of the Quarterbacks Let's Go podcast. He said he's struggling to focus on personal life during the season, compares it to war. The reality is, he continued, is you can really only be authentic to yourself, right? Whatever you may say, oh man, I want to, make sure I spend a little more time doing this during the season. The reality is, when it comes down to it, your competitiveness takes over. And as much as you want to have this playful balance with the work balance, you're going to end up doing exactly what you've always done, which is why you are who you are. Dude sounds like he's struggling a little bit,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, like it just
He's working
sounds
through
like
something.
this is rough. This is rough. It sounds like he doesn't know how to not play football, is what it sounds like. Know what I mean? Like
Can't
like
stop.
even if you want, like, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but it sounds like this dude is, I mean, truly dedicated his entire life, every waking moment for the last 20 years to this sport. And the idea of stopping seems like impossible to him. And that's probably messing with his psyche. He's seeing things fall apart around him. He's seeing his like things in his personal life kind of take a hit because of this. And it sounds like he feels helpless in
It
it.
just sounds like that message was hopefully broadcasted to someone very specific in his mind. That's what that message sounds like to me.
Like you're saying like a subtweet type thing.
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
when you like subtweet your
Like
Brazilian,
he's
your Brazilian
trying to say
wife,
something,
perhaps.
but he's just not saying it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's like
got you.
when a coach says something to the media, but he's really saying like, somebody needs to stop fumbling, and he's actually talking to Melvin Gordon, right? It's like one of those things. I think
Yeah.
that message is meant for someone very specific.
When Maria says someone has to stop leaving the toilet seat up,
I go to my dog. I do that with my dog.
Rosie.
I'm like, Mama forgot to get milk. Can you believe it?
Didn't expect that one.
It seems like and I'm digging the vibe with like Melvin Gordon, Tom Brady. I feel like NFL players are being a little bit more open about their like emotions this season. Like I feel like I'm having trouble remembering players being this open about like real, genuine like struggles or things they're feeling. Like Melvin Gordon was true. He was like, yeah, I was sad. Like that hurt. I felt like I could help the team, and I was not allowed to do so. We see Tom Brady coming out like telling us like, man, this is hard. Like this is really hard for me.
Wait, that long quote you just told us, was that was Tom Brady or was that Melvin Gordon? Because I thought it was Tom Brady.
That was Tom Brady. That was
Okay.
Tom Brady talking to one of Kevin Durant's
then Melvin Gordon
burners on Twitter.
said.
But the Melvin Gordon thing was also this week. You know what I mean? But Melvin
Yeah.
Gordon, dude, I mean, like, it's a little different. They put clown emojis on the jumbotron. Of course, he's gonna be sad,
Yeah, 100%. Of course, he's going to be sad. Craig wants to know, you remember the follow-up parody they did for the What's Up commercial? How are you doing?
No,
Craig, I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Yeah. We
I
have
missed
Sean
that one.
Davis. Sean Davis over in the YouTube chat. Good morning, Sean. Do I cut Dalton
Morning,
Schultz?
Sean.
Give me an example of what's out there on whether or not to cut him. The thing with Dalton Schultz is he falls pretty squarely into what is referred to on the show as the tight end glob, which is essentially the group of tight ends that are the third or fourth target on their team. Usually it's a pretty decent pass attack, and they're, a threat to score a touchdown on any given week, but they're not a top 2 target on their team, which kind of puts them in this like group that they could any given week, they could be anywhere from tight end 5 to tight end 20, right? That's kind of how the glob works, boys. So I think with the return of Michael Gallup and him having a tweaked knee, he kind of ends up in the glob. I think the best thing for fantasy football for Dalton Schultz is if they were to put him on the IR, and you could put him in not on the official IR, but if you were to be ruled out early, and you could put him in an IR spot, because you can't trust him right now coming off tweaking his knee once again. So if there's anybody decent out there, Dalton Schultz is cuttable, especially if you don't have an IR spot. But in deeper leagues, you got to hold a guy like that because we know his upside too.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you 100% on that.
Let us know who's out there, and we'll weigh in.
Yeah,
If
especially
Irv
with injury and
Smith-
stuff.
Irv Smith is out there. He seems like he's been getting some attention lately. Are you starting Irv Smith over Dalton Schultz?
Don't give us actual decisions to make, Simon.
You're right. Sorry. If you want to know whether to start Irv Smith or Dalton Schultz, Nando is on at 3 p.m. today.
3
Yeah,
p.m.,
bring
yeah.
that question over to him. And he'll
Yes,
gladly help you out.
Allen Robinson. Yeah, that's why did he have to come out and have a good game and just make everything complicated? Just be good or be bad, please.
I
Would you
kind of
drop-
figured that might happen. So
would you
I
drop-
would drop. I would go Allen Robinson here. I'd pick him up.
I would.
You pick up
I mean,
Allen
Allen Robinson, pretty consistently getting 5 or 6 targets a game. Is just he's not doing anything with it until now, right? Dalton Schultz between the PCL and the wide receivers, you can get him out. Get him out.
Chargers kicker Dustin Hopkins is out 2 to 4 weeks with a hamstring strain. He's going to be sidelined for that time period after he suffered that strain in Monday's 1916 overtime victory against the Denver Broncos. This comes from Coach Brandon Staley yesterday. He suffered the strain in the second quarter when he said he felt a pop in his right leg, followed by pain as he attempted an extra point. Yeah, you see him every time he made a
That's
kick.
not good.
His whole body, like he would make the kick and then he would just like I know it was part of the motion, but he had like this just horribly pained look on his face and would go for his leg every single time. I was like, why do they keep sending him out there? Stop it.
I think that,
he said in the post game interview that he was. I think the reporter asked like, was it any more difficult to kick like the longer field goal attempts versus the shorter ones? He's like, no, like it's pain. He's like, whether I'm kicking it like hard or slightly less hard. He's like, it's pretty much hurts the same.
and I think this is a message to everybody out there in the world of football that thinks that they can kick field goals. No, you can't.
Me.
Like this guy, like they definitely have a backup emergency kicker somewhere on this team, and they would rather roll this guy out with his leg hanging off than use that player. So there's zero chance that you could be a professional kicker, as much as in the back of your mind you like to think so. This is except for Jay Wall, who actually crushes the football. I saw him at the Expo hitting him like 50. So Jay Wall, maybe you could. Everybody else, no, it's not happening. So
Coop,
gonna have to put that dream aside.
I don't mean to like rain on your take here, but I did make a 15-yard field goal at the College Football Hall of Fame in front of a bunch of 8-year-olds, and they were all absolutely missing them. Like they couldn't hit a single one, and I drilled it. Just
Nice.
way better than all those kids.
I think every single person has that story of the time that they did kick a field goal.
So I'm just saying, a 15-yarder once at the College Football Hall of Fame on what was surely a regulation field goal. I can't imagine they would put up something that wasn't regulation.
How many 8-year-olds was this in front of?
Oh,
16?
at least 16. Like there was a whole line formed. I was the one adult in the line with all of the
Were
children.
you in
to go-
charge of these children, or
No.
were they just?
No,
Was
my dad and I went to the College Football Hall of Fame, and as we're leaving, we like there's like this interactive area, and like, and I see it, I'm like, I'm gonna do it, Dad. The funny part is, I stand in line, and then I look around and realize I'm the only adult in line. It's all children out there to kick the field goal.
Of course.
And then I look over, and my dad is standing with all the other parents, waiting for their kids to kick a field goal. It's like my dad's chilling with the parents, like watching the kids. I'm just imagining him over there, like after I make it, like he was always like, "That's my boy." Like that's my kid. We just see that kid who just nailed the field goal. That
Did
was
he?
mine.
Did he put his hand like after you hit it? He put his hand on your shoulder, and you guys just walked off into the sunset.
Yeah, and he was talking mad trash to the other parents about how bad their kids were at kicking field goals.
Was there an audible wow from all the 8-year-old kids?
Wow.
Not audible. In fact, none of them reacted at all. But I have to imagine they were just so shocked and
Not a
impressed.
single one of them remember
Yeah,
the
probably
story.
they still talk about it to this day. I'm sure, without a doubt, they bring it up just as often as Jail brings up like that he went to high school with Stephon Diggs.
Did I tell you guys about that?
No, you didn't. Did you beat him in a handwriting competition or something?
Handwriting, yeah, cursive.
Cursive competition.
I got the eyes. Give me an advantage.
Tommy said, I've never tried instant injury guaranteed. Yeah. One time I have tried to like punt the ball one time off a tee, and I just kicked straight into the tee, and I wasn't wearing shoes that were good for that. Like just nailed the tee and hurt my toe.
Craig says, I think JL can kick field goals with those calves.
Yo.
I think. And Marie said the JL's go to the park and have you try. I feel like we did. I feel like we did this like 8 months ago.
Yeah, that was a
I
wasn't
don't
that
think
was
I'm very good.
that was catching pass. No, that was a 40 time that we were doing.
Running
no,
routes.
that's ran routes.
That
We
was a
ran
different
routes.
time.
Yeah,
We went to the park another time.
You've been to the park twice?
Yeah.
That's incredible. Slow down,
There's
JL.
squirrels.
Slow down.
Well,
Slow
how many
down.
8-year-olds were there when you kicked yours?
16, exactly.
So
That's incredible.
That's just
I mean,
enough.
now you know how it feels then to be the coolest kid in the room. We had some more news yesterday. Ravens signed wide receiver Deshaun Jackson to the practice squad. He'll play a 15th season in the NFL after being signed to the Ravens practice squad on Tuesday. Agent Drew Rosenhaus told ESPN to Adam Schefter. The expectation is for the 35-year-old Jackson to get elevated on game day and boost the Ravens' deep passing game. Last season, Jackson showed he still has speed, averaging 22.7 yards per catch. Rashad Bateman let us know how he felt about this with a nice little tweet yesterday. Just LOL. That was related, right? That was what that
Rashad
tweet was
Bateman
about.
one?
Yeah, Rashad
Probably, yeah.
Bateman. The LOL tweet was about this signing, right?
Probably, yeah.
Had to be. What do you guys think? Is this does this have any effect on Rashad Bateman? Is he LOLing for fun out there?
I think it's just a passive aggressive tweet. I don't think it affects him.
I can't
Just
wait
a classic wide
Can't wait to
receiver
see
tweet.
Deshaun Jackson catch his 160-yard pass and then get injured, which is his that's his move, right?
I was in the Discord yesterday, our Front Yard Fantasy Discord, and we were chatting. I think whenever this news dropped, and I just was like, "Oh, I don't want to talk about Deshaun Jackson anymore. Like, I don't want to do this."
Still waiting on my invite to the Discord, dude. Not sure it's
Dude,
lost in
Kevin
the mail.
Tompkins is there.
Well, dude,
Why aren't you in there?
That's a really.
I don't know
good
why
question.
that's like the qualifier. Why
That's a
that's the
really good
qualifier for
question.
you.
Kevin's in there.
What the
You're
heck?
not. Come on,
Makes
Coop.
me
What are
feel
you
even worse,
doing?
dude. Makes me feel even worse.
Absolutely.
I need an invite by the end of the next break.
You're gonna
Okay.
have one right now.
We can get that to you. No, Dale, my reaction to the Deshaun Jackson signing was exactly the same. It was like, I'm just gonna pretend like this didn't happen. I'm not doing this again.
Copy
Like,
pasta what we said the last time.
he'll have a big game probably. Maybe not this week, but like he'll probably have a long touchdown, and people will be like, "Oh, we need to pay attention," and that
Don't
either he's
care.
going to get injured or just not do it again. Just he's not a fantasy relevant option. Coop, are you picking him up?
Deshaun Jackson.
Yes.
It's just like, what a
did I
dumb
just
question.
did I just answer the question? I think I might have just answered that question.
And Craig said Coop is in Grimace Discord, but not FYF Discord. I think his priorities are on point.
Shoot, Craig
Craig's
sent
not
me a,
kidding. Coop
so
actually
Craig sent
is
me a,
in-
I am in the Grimace Discord, and Craig sent me a link to a Grimace Reddit, and that place might
Yeah.
even be weirder than the Grimace Discord. Most Grimace
Pretty
communities
sure you're the mod.
super weird. Yeah, I am.
We had a question come in here from Randy. Randy wants to know, should I trade Deontay Johnson for ETN? His current wide receivers are Mike Evans, T. Higgins, Adam Thielen, and Drake London. And he's got Walker and Mixon at running back. So would you trade Deontay Johnson straight up for Travis Etienne if this was your team?
I think I would.
No.
I don't know.
You're not?
I mean, he's not going to use Deontay Johnson with. You can get away with those wide receivers. Do you start 2 wide receivers or 3, Randy? I think that's a big question here, because if you start 2, then it's just Evans and Higgins all the time, nonstop. Can't stop, won't stop.
Nonstop, won't stop.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like this trade. Add some depth at running back. Walker and Mixon are great starts, but Etienne's a flex-worthy player and a great next.
2 wide receivers in a flex jail. Does that change your opinion?
I was always on your guys' side. I just thought it was the other side. I thought it was flipped. I thought you were trading ETN away.
I was gonna say, dude, like you're like you carry the
I'm the-
ETN
yeah.
flag, so I figured I could count
Stand.
on you for that. All right, so okay, so we're in agreement.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Dale is just stupid, but we fixed it.
I'm just an idiot. Yeah.
So very good.
We had one more piece of news I wanted to go over. Chase Claypool could be made available via a trade. He would likely be made available if the team struggles before the trade deadline. Considering he's not a free agent until 2024, he would not be a rental for a potential playoff team looking to bolster their receiver group. This could be a guy where it's under contract with that team for a couple years. Any teams where you would like to see Claypool end up? You get a little excited thinking about Claypool on any of these teams?
All the usual
really
suspects, right?
The Packers?
The Lions,
Packers, Chiefs, Lions,
the Bears.
the Bears. Yeah, that'd be so exciting. Yeah, I mean, in my mind,
The Jets.
in my mind, Chase Claypool's been available this entire time, just because he's been kind of a punk, has he not? Like, he kind of butted heads with Mike Tomlin, said he was a top 3 wide receiver in the league, which is absolute diva style, right?
I
So,
love it.
yeah,
Dude,
he
you know what?
looks like
I
he looks
don't
like that
say- I
rapper
don't count that
6ix9ine.
against him at all.
Me neither.
Did you say he looks like 6'9"? So
Yeah.
disrespectful.
But he kind of does, though. But he kind of does. So I don't know.
Oh man,
Uh,
I don't take any. I don't take him down a peg at all. Really, for a lot of the emotional growing up things. You know, do what he does. Say your top 3, man. You know what? Believe in yourself because nobody else will.
I like that.
That's
So-
what,
Especially
like,
not-
every time people are going hard on like these young players, like they got an attitude or they're doing something, I'm like, man, if when I was 21 years old, someone handed me a couple $1 million, I'd probably be a problem too. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a couple $1
But
million
playing life, you
and
don't got
celebrity
issues, too.
status. Like you got celebrity status and all the money you could ever want. And I'd probably be a real asshole.
right.
I'm already pretty annoying as is, dude. You know?
I got way
not
too
even-
confidence already as like
Yeah.
a broke,
Yeah,
kind of chubby dude
Right.
living in South Texas. Like I got no
I
reason.
love that's your image of yourself in your head.
Yeah, but yeah, I love me some me, and I'm not even rich, you know. But yeah, I mean, like this is what the Steelers do, right? This is their MO, is to just absolutely knock it out of the park, acquiring wide receivers, and then they make a decision on which ones to keep. Like they did this they sat there with Emmanuel Sanders, Mike Wallace, and let them both walk because they had Antonio Brown. And you know, if Deontay Johnson has if Deontay Johnson has the power to bench the quarterback, which apparently is what was being reported, that he's probably the guy they're keeping. Him, Pickens, who they have under contract, Freiermuth. They don't really need Claypool, so send them away. Send them to the Packers.
Get out of here. No, I'm with you. I'd like to see Claypool on a team where maybe he has a little bit more value. Just don't go to like the Bucks or someplace that's full. That would just make it a little bit more frustrating.
Yeah, it would annoy me if he broke up some of these like highly consolidated 2 wide receiver situations. Like I know like the Seahawks would probably never trade for him, but I like being able to count on just Lockett and Metcalf being the guys, right? Like keep him away from like I wouldn't want him to go to like the Vikings right now. That would be annoying for fantasy. Like stay away from those teams. Go to a team that just
Like
has one.
the
wide receiver.
Colts. Like
That would be okay.
the Colts would be terrible. Like we're trying to figure out that second wide receiver option there between like Alec Pierce, Michael Pittman, right? You think that would be okay?
It would.
It would just make that like it would make all 3 of them unstartable.
It would vaporize Alec Pierce
Yeah.
and Paris Campbell. I think if they're going to trade for that guy, they're going to use him. Anyone that's trading for this guy is going to make him a focal point. I think.
Yeah, makes sense. Randy had a question in here for us. He said, "Do you guys know if Greg Dulcich still holds value if the Broncos backup comes in and gets playing time due to the Russ injury? So if Brett Rippon's chucking the ball, does Dulcich still have start appeal?"
Here's the thing with Dulcich is
Rick
that
Rippon.
we like to get really excited whenever a shiny new player comes around, but he's also, because of Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton, pretty squarely in the glob. Like he's elevated himself into the glob at this point. It doesn't mean he's a guy you were going to pick up and start this week unless you're Simon. And even Simon probably wasn't going that far. You weren't going that far, but you were getting him. You were getting him.
I'm getting him. And
He's fun.
I'll start him like if it's an emergency. You know what I mean? But I can't even imagine you get down that far.
Yeah.
You got to see a little bit more before you can trust him in this offense.
So would you start him in a tornado warning?
Tornado watch, I would start him, but not in a tornado warning.
One of them is different than the other.
You'd start him in the watch, but then once the siren started, you would take him out.
I would take him out, and I would
Get out of there, Greg.
But if there was an
Get out
actual
of
tornado,
here.
would you put him back in?
Well,
Have
tornado
to.
warning means there is a tornado, right? Like watch is like maybe, and then warning's like, yep, it's here. Go
I think it's the
downstairs.
other way around because I feel like it's like opposite of what you think.
Well,
This-
does anyone live where there are actually tornadoes? I feel like St. Simon.
Yeah, there's tornadoes.
No, I don't get tornadoes here, but I grew up with tornadoes and was terrified of them.
There's tornadoes here. It's not like
Baltimore.
Kansas or whatever, but every once in a while,
I'm gonna look it
see
up.
them on TV all the time.
We don't really.
I mean,
get 'em.
brag.
When we get them, they're not like real tornadoes. They're just like everyone's like it's like a
This is like the kind
Yeah,
of
not
fun.
Jeb-
novelty
Just ride 'em up.
tornadoes. Yeah, like there's like 2 trash bags swirl around, and the news is like tornado.
Tornado watch means there is the possibility of a tornado happening, but that does not mean there's a tornado occurring at the time. A tornado warning means there is a tornado occurring at the time.
So you're right. Okay.
So I'm right.
Dude,
I'm right, but that's not what
what-
it's about. It's
what are we
about all
talking
of us
about?
learning.
what are we? I thought we were talking about Greg Dulcich.
Yeah, and tornadoes.
No
Now-
tornado protocol.
So now we
and
know.
tornado safety.
So now we know.
I just remember growing up and my dad would refuse to go down to the basement whenever there was a tornado warning. And I'd be having like a full-on panic that he was going to die on his computer upstairs. But really, it was fine. It was just like windy
Had to get
outside
that
our house.
spreadsheet.
He had to get that spreadsheet figured out.
Your
Craig's saying
dad-
tornadoes in Wisconsin. Had one last week. Well, I hope everybody's safe. Sounds like you're at least safe. Or you have a cell phone, at least, if you're not safe. Guys, coming up, we are going to be playing some hypothetically and some poll perception today, as well as ranking some of these NFL teams, going back through the power rankings we created at the beginning of the season. And then our friend Tyler Dragon of USA Today is coming on the show a little bit later today as well. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Collectible moments.
Everybody up here at U.S. Cellular. Sox 5 runs, 6 hits. The 2-1 to Bartlett. Swing shot to short. Ramirez has it, throws. Burley picks the perfect game. His second no-hitter. People going crazy here at U.S. Cellular. He's mobbed by his teammates. A perfecto.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in. Right out, 1 second left. What a play by Bird. Bird stole the impounding pass. Laid it up to DJ. DJ laid it up at him. And Boston has a 1-point lead with 1 second left.
Out of the I formation on first down. Peterson the carry, looking for running room on the right side, has it to the 25, across the 30, across the 35, and out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Adrian Peterson has just gone over 2,000 yards for the season, the 7th man in NFL history to cross the 2,000-yard mark.
Well, a thundering ovation for number 66, Mario Lemieux.
Just the emotion I'm sure Mario is feeling in this place. You don't appreciate something until it's gone, and it's so great to have Mario back.
Yager turns around. Over to Lemieux. Mario Lemieux, his first goal in his comeback here tonight at the Mellon Arena. And the Penguins lead 3-0, and he is smiling like a butcher's dog. Mario Lemieux.
Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. The Bears have scored, but the Bands are out on the field.
Pearson moves in front of the STP Dodge. Petty comes back to the inside. They almost touch as they move down low in the bank, and they're going to be side by side as they exit the bank and head for the finish line.
Richard Petty goes back in front. They both spin. They're in the wall. Petty is sliding, slamming into the wall. He's coming down toward the finish line. Will he make it? Pearson is still running. The winner is car number 21. An amazing finish. Richard Petty's car demolished in the front end, as well as car number 21. An unbelievable finish, a terrible crash. David Pearson has won the Daytona 500. Leitner catches, comes down, dribbles, shoots, scores! Christian Leitner has hit the bucket at the buzzer! Pitched by Downing, swinging, there's a drive into left center field. That ball is gonna be out of here. It's gone. It's 7-15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
The most valuable player is Magic Johnson. 42 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists. He starts at center, plays forward and guard, and leads the Los Angeles Lakers to a world championship 123-107 over Philadelphia.
Whether you collect sports memorabilia, fantasy championships, or winning bet slips, talk about it on Better Sports Network.
Welcome back in, everyone, to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
It's in the game.
It's in the game. During that break,
Game.
Sponsor us, Auto Game. That company that doesn't exist.
We got to start that.
Let's like demand a sponsorship from AutoZone and say we'll say it every time. I promise.
Every single time. We can't help it.
You
don't have to pay us anything. We're gonna probably do it anyway.
We'll change. We'll just start adding sucks if they don't. Like AutoZone sucks.
Sucks
every single time.
That does change it.
Kind of strong arm them.
We got Napa on lock if you guys don't want to play.
Yeah.
Napa's ready to go.
We're just holding AutoZone hostage. They didn't even ask for this. We're just sitting there like, we're going to go with Napa if you don't go with us.
Yo, Midas has been calling me nonstop, and they got that golden touch. AutoZone.
Want that booty.
Get out of here.
This is like when LeBron knew he was going to sign with Nike, so he wore like Adidas and Reebok sneakers to the games just to kind of up the bid. That's what we're doing right now.
Throw them off the trail. 100%. It's like the hats. We have all the auto store hats in front of us, and we're picking one for a sponsorship. We grab the AutoZone one, go to put the AutoZone hat on, and then just chuck it to the side. Sorry, AutoZone. Wow. That's how the end of that commercial goes. Guys, we are about to get into a game we call Hypothetically. The point of this game is to take different question scenarios and overthink the hell out of them. Take them to their extremes. Determine what you would do if you were put in these situations. JL, you are going to run this for us. Let's get into a game of Hypothetically.
I love this game. I have so much fun. Oh,
the JL dance. Joe, this is what you said you would do at a wedding, right?
Yeah.
Something with your hands?
Yeah, something like that.
That's a strong move.
We should never have given Keith access to our thumbnail.
Yeah.
All right. You guys ready to get into this?
Let's do it.
All right. Here's your first prompt, fellas. I'm going to go through this. You'll have a chance to ask some clarification questions, really dissect this whole situation before you have to answer. Here it is. You're waiting in line for a wicked scary coaster at King's Dominion, the amusement park. on a hot July afternoon. It's finally your turn to ride, so you eagerly climb into the car and buckle up. The ride attendant checks everyone's buckles and goes to start the ride. Before she can, Taysom Hill pushes his way through the line, looking anxious as he seats himself in the seat next to you, staring at you as he buckles himself in and the ride begins. You begin to panic. You start looking around for someone to help. What happens next?
This is tough. I'm getting flashbacks to I don't know. Whenever I think standing in line for a scary coaster, like I haven't been on coasters very much recently, but a recent memory, I was in line for the Hornet at what's that park that's near Clemson?
Hornet Park?
No, the amusement park closest to Clemson. It's in North Carolina, Carowinds. I was at Carowinds in line for the Hornet, which was their new coaster. We get to the top of that first hill, and as we're going up, I start hearing buzzing. And I'm like, oh, cool. They added like Hornet sound effects to like this ride to make it extra scary. No, at the top of the first hill,
the Tampa Bay goalpost.
There is a
giant
beehive at the top of this first hill. And so as we crested this hill, there's just bees swarming all around. And I'm terrified
That's
of bees.
the end of my life.
So there was like a real panic
I would fall
moment
out of
up
that.
there. And that's the only time I've been panicked. And I'm sitting here thinking like, what would be scarier, bees or all of a sudden Taysom Hill's next to me on the roller coaster? And I think it's Taysom Hill. I think give me the bees, not Taysom Hill. I know this isn't a would you rather, but I'm being put in this like, that was my scariest moment on a roller coaster. This tops that.
I think it's become a would you rather, bees or Taysom Hill.
Bees or Taysom Hill.
I'll tell you right now, dude. I'd rather ride the bee coaster all the way down, dude. You can put the bees next to me because Taysom Hill has made my Reddit and Twitter experience terrible. Like legit, I posted one. So every single week that I didn't have my rankings, someone came in and said, "What about Taysom Hill?" And now on Reddit, that's just like the thing that they say. Like I posted my rankings this week, and Taysom Hill is in there with a full write up, a paragraph, and people are in there saying, "What about Taysom Hill?" Like he just, I can't escape it, dude. It's like a bad dream. It's like a nightmare. So give me the bees. Give me the bees.
Here's what happens next, JL. Here's what happens next. I figured it out. The only explanation for how Taysom Hill is like continuously getting all these snaps, getting out on the field through multiple head coaches now, is he's an expert hypnotist. Like he gets these people under his spell without a doubt. He can do it. No line. And I think his phrase is, he looks you in the eyes and he says, "Put me in, coach." And then you're under his spell. So I think he sits down. We get to the top of the hill. Like I start getting a little nervous a little bit. I like accidentally without thinking reach over and like grab his hand for a second. And in that split moment, as I realize, oh shoot, I shouldn't do that to this man, I look over at him. He looks me in the eyes and he goes,
"That's not a man."
He says,
"That's a god.
Put me in, coach." And then snap. I'm under a spell. I'm no longer scared. We get off the ride. My girlfriend's waiting for me, but I don't even acknowledge her.
She doesn't ride with you.
No, she was too scared. Taysom Hill kicked her out of her seat. That's what happened. Like he was like, he said, he looked at her in the eyes and said, "Put me in."
Put laxatives in her drink.
So she's waiting for us. We don't acknowledge each other anymore. We both just follow Taysom Hill out of the theme park back to the Saints Stadium. We're with him in New Orleans, and we're just retrieving balls for him. We're his little football lackeys now for the rest of our existence. We are.
He did all of this just to have a backboard.
You think that's what happens? But so he steals your girlfriend's seat. But the moment you go to hold his hand, Sean Payton comes in to fight you because he's so jealous. so then Sean Payton steals your seat, and now they're just riding the coaster without you guys, which is fine because they'll have to deal with the bees.
Yeah, you turn around looking for help, and it's Sean Payton, pursed lips, just.
He's so mad, dude. He's got the Arthur fist, just. Oh.
He's got arms crossed. You get off the ride, you and Taysom are like, "Oh, that was so much fun." And Sean Payton walks up and goes, "Taysom, you want to introduce me to your friend?"
He's walking like 5 feet behind you. His arm,
when I think about Taysom Hill, I like to think that he has like the green light to sub himself into the game at any position at any time. At any moment, he just starts jogging out, going like this, and whoever comes off, like he doesn't even know what position he's going to be playing. He just jogs out, and he's like, "Who needs
in the moment?"
Yeah, who needs a breather?
What were you playing again?
Right, exactly.
I'm left tackle.
The guard,
breather,
yeah,
big man.
exactly. He just comes out. He's like, "Anyone need a breather?" And he plays whatever position is available at the time. Seems to be the case.
Tommy says, "Go in for the kiss."
It depends on the kind of coaster. Is this like a over the shoulder coaster? Is this like a lap
over
belt
the shoulder?
Okay, then it's gonna be hard to go in for the
tunnel.
You're gonna
be
going like like this, like, and
But
he's
you
gonna
try
be-
anyway.
not
I
gonna
was
reach. You're
gonna-
gonna have to do the classic, and then just smush it on him.
I was gonna ask what Taysom Hill's doing in Virginia, but what am I doing in Virginia?
Yeah, that's pretty far from me.
That's a good
really
que-
far from you.
that's a
Also
good
very far
question.
from all- I don't. Pretty far from most of us.
You
Not
were
too
just
far from
watching
jail.
the Saints game, and all of a sudden,
All of a
Taysom
sudden
Hill
I'm-
over the broadcast said, "Put me in, coach." And you just stood up, walked to the airport, bought a ticket to Virginia, showed up.
So you were already
Simon-
under a spell and you didn't even know it.
Simon, Leanne, and I were all waiting there for you at the
Taysom
airport.
Hill has sleeper agents all over the country that he's hypnotized without even knowing. And then over the broadcast, you just hear, "Put me in, coach." And
Sean
all at
Payton's
once,
just Scrappy Doo on the inside.
15% of the United States population stands up and starts walking towards New Orleans as Taysom Hill says, "Put me in, coach," on the air. We're all just like
Tight
in
end
unison,
designation.
lockstep. You see, like you see like an open shot of a city, and from all directions, you see people just like walking into New Orleans.
Mass,
People are swimming in as
migration.
well. Like, yeah, just to Taysom Hill's home. They're surrounding the stadium.
That's
Just
actually
chanting,
that's
Taysom.
that's literally exactly what it's like to post a tight end article on Reddit. Literally, dude. Except there's
Yeah, come flocking out.
except there's like
You suck.
pitchforks and like like torches. You know what I mean? Like yeah.
Keith had something to add here. He said, "I feel like he would start crying because he doesn't know who he is. He's asking for life advice the whole ride. Am I QB? Am I tight end? Am I running back? What am I?"
Am I dancer?
He's just having an existential crisis. Poor Taysom Hill.
Poor Taysom Hill.
All
That's
right,
what-
guys. Well done with that one. I like that. The Taysom lore is strong. We got to make some fan fiction around this. Next prompt. You guys ready?
Before we do that, we had a question come here that I wanted to answer
Yes.
from Mark. Mark Greffert said, "I'm 3-3, half PPR with JT Mixon, Jamar Chase, Debo Samuel, CeeDee Lamb, Breece Hall, Dak. Then that's a deep bench with Christian Kirk, AJ Dillon, and Pickens. Should I go after anyone? I'm thinking Swift or Amon-Ra St. Brown, or do I just stick it out? I mean, this is a good team, man. With Jamar Chase, Debo Samuel, CeeDee Lamb, like I would stick it out. This is a great team. Like you truly have a fantastic team.
Right.
I'm not sure Amon-Ra's an upgrade over Chase, Debo, and CeeDee, and Swift sure maybe an upgrade over what you're getting right now out of JT and Mixon, but you got two stud running backs with Breece Hall sitting there and waiting, who should be a top 10 guy rest of the season. What do you guys think? You trying to make any big moves, or you sticking it out with this team?
Ride it out, dude. There's no need.
You don't have any big needs. So like, if you can go and still look for, market inefficiencies, players where you and your league mates are not quite aligned. But yeah, I don't think you have your team is solid. It's super balanced, strong. So yeah, anyone you add would just be, stockpiling that up.
Leave it.
100%. Okay, now I'm ready, JL.
All right. Here is your next prompt, fellas. Would you rather have nipples or 4 first-round rookie draft picks?
Wait, like not extra nipples, just like my nipples disappear if I take the picks.
Yep.
2023?
Yep.
And is it 4 additional to what I already have? Or like if I have 2 in a league, do I now just get 2 extra?
It's additional.
Okay.
And are they like the first 4 picks of the draft?
No, they're not the first 4. Randomly distributed.
And it's a guarantee. It's like, is it clear? Is it clear?
Is it?
Are there marks where my nipples used to be, or am I just flat? Like there's nothing there. Like it's just like a Barbie doll chest, no nipples, just flat.
I have no idea if what I'm about to say is accurate, but it's like Kyle XY.
Don't know what that is.
That
You guys remember
TV
that show?
The TV show Kyle XY. You were bringing back. I remember.
Oh, wait, no, that's a belly button thing. It's not a nipples thing.
So it's like Kyle XY.
Is that the whole thing of the show, that he just doesn't have a belly button?
Yeah,
that's the whole
show.
premise. Yeah, he just shows up and he's like, dude, I don't know, man. It's not there. Yeah, they're just not there, Simon. There's no like deep crevice marks or something. I don't know. What was the alternative that you were?
And if I
thinking of?
take the nipple, well, I'm just thinking like, are there marks? Like, is there like scars where the nipples were?
It used to
Like,
be nipples.
Exactly. Like are there like circles that are now empty? Like, does it look like just the outline of a nipple on my chest now, or is it just bare, clean.
Just bare. Ken doll.
Man, you know what? I hate that I do this, but in all these would you rathers, I go like, is this a cool party trick? Like, it's like whipping up your shirt and you got no nipples. Like, that's some attention.
Is that a trick?
Every time, like, if you go to the lake with some friends you've never been with before, like my girlfriend's friends invite me to the lake and I take my shirt off, it's a topic of conversation that I have
She's like,
no
come on,
nipples,
show them your
right?
nipples. You're like, no, I don't want to.
A
Like,
cool conversation piece. They'll show them your nipples. I can't.
You know what?
Show us your nipples. I can't.
Small talk. It's a nice pivot. You know, you're at the grocery store. You see someone from high school. You're like, hey, by the way, I have no nipples.
Guess what? Guess what?
You can get them tattooed.
Smooth as a bear down there.
Can I get my nipples tattooed back on? Like, can I get tattoos of nipples?
You can, but they don't look realistic.
Okay, I was gonna say
they're like goofy.
There are tattoo artists who specialize in that. Shout out to those tattoo artists. There's like a couple you can like. I've seen them on Instagram where they do
disproportionately large.
You'd have to stay in pretty good shape though, because like people all the time would be like, show them.
Yeah,
and then you'd have to, you know what I mean? You'd have to
do
like,
that thing you do.
Lift your shirt up and show everybody all the time. So you'd have to at least try to stay in good shape because you can't be fat and also lifting up your shirt all the time.
I mean, you can. You just got to have that confidence. It's all about
swag,
rocking
dude.
it.
That's just another party trick, being super fat. Yeah. All right. I think I'm ready to answer this one.
Tommy had one more question. So, can you grow your chest hair out so they are hidden? No, I can't. JL doesn't have to answer that one for me. No, I can't, Tommy.
And know that it just grows like around it, but it just becomes like that much more apparent that there's like giant patch in your grass.
It's all right,
let's just say one of mine would be more covered than the other. I have disproportionate chest hair.
Very cool.
It does not grow equally on the right and left side.
Show us.
He had nipples, but not a belly button.
Keith, what's the rule on nipples on this show? Are we allowed to show nipples or not?
My guess is that you want to keep them. You want to keep the nips to a minimum.
I disagree fully.
A nippimum. JL, I'm taking.
No,
do I get extra nipples if I give up the picks I already have? Like, I've got one first round pick in a league. If I say you can have that pick for an extra nipple, well,
like
okay,
so the currency exchange type of situation.
I was going to say the rate of trade that we're doing here is 2 firsts for a nipple.
Yeah.
Is basically the exchange rate here. It's 2 firsts equals 1 nipple is what we've got as the going rate here. If I have 2 firsts in a league and I don't take the extra 4 and I give you those 2, can I add a 3rd nipple? Because that's a better party trick.
If you can find a way to trade your nipples in Sleeper or an equivalent fantasy platform, you can absolutely do it.
Kickers equal nipples.
It sounds
we've done
in the chat. Joey's open to that, doing that trade. It sounds like Joey already made it clear that he's willing to accept nipples as.
This got me. He said, if Joey writes that if anyone chooses the picks, I'll take any leftover nipples. Can never have enough. Never know when you'll need them.
That's what I'm saying. I think I would trade. I would trade 2 firsts for a nipple. Get that 3rd one on there somewhere. That's a better party trick.
I'll tell you. I'll answer this question right now. That this is just another one of those classic ones where one side of this equation gets both the good sides. Because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I run or ride bikes, my nipples will chafe, and it's just like brutal. Especially if it's like
nipples?
A 5K or 10K. No, with the shirts and stuff, man. So for me, having no nipples, dude, I feel like that's a bonus. So I'll take the picks, and you can take the nipples, dude. Get them out of my sight.
Doesn't even want them.
When I ran cross country in my freshman year, one of the girls on the team, her dad would always come run with us, and he was odd to say the least, like an odd man, beard down to like his belly button, bald head, a little goofy, like clearly a runner, like had like I've been running for 50 years body. You know what I'm talking about? So in shape, but it's all
I know
lean.
exactly what
There's
you're talking
nothing
about.
But lean muscle on this man's body.
But it's old muscle.
Oh, it's old muscle.
That muscle has been through the.
He could run for years. And I remember I was running with him. Like he was running with me during like a summer practice one time. And I was new to running. And he like looked at me and was like, so like, you know, if you ever have issues with your nipples chafing, they sell nip guards. And I was like, oh, really? Like,
I can help you with that.
Thanks for the advice. And then like the next day at practice, he brought me, they were these little foam like octagons with like a sticker on the back.
You just put them over?
Like, no, and he brought them for me.
Like a car cover?
Like apparently I expressed interest just trying to end the conversation. Yeah. And then you just stick it on your nipple. There's like a little hollow space for your nipple to live in so that your shirt doesn't rub against it. And
like a little nipple
it was
igloo.
very nice of him, but like I'd never met
Sideways
this man.
Patrick Starr.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing. That's another bonus is that like if some man comes up to you, like, you know, made out of beef jerky or whatever you could just describe this guy to be, you can just say, hey, I don't have any nipples. So this conversation's over. Okay.
So if someone tries to rob you, like, hey, I don't have any nipples.
I don't have any nipples, so
My bad.
you know we don't have to have this whole nipple igloo thing that you're talking about here. You can just keep those. And I believe that's Davis Ping in the chat saying nipple
What's up,
bleed
man?
is real, and it is.
He
It's a
said
real
Kyle
problem.
Pitts. Or...
So, get him
I'm
out.
not saying that.
Get him off.
I'm not saying that.
I don't know, Simon, what are you taking?
I'm keeping my nipples. I'm keeping.
Oh,
I don't have
boy.
enough. The number of Royce Freemans and N'Keal Harrys that I've drafted are not worth losing my nipples. Like I think I got a better grip on drafting rookies now, but I also just drafted Terrace Marshall 2 seasons ago, so maybe I don't know anything. So I'm gonna keep my nipples. And if there's more nipples available for trade, I might try to acquire one or two.
I might enter the market. You know.
Yeah,
Let's see.
I'm in the market if you're trading nipples for picks.
Just day trading, nothing big. Under 10K. Nipples,
Two
of
first.
course. What do you got,
It's a-
YouTube?
It's an early and a mid.
I already answered.
You went with the nips? No, you went the other way.
I went the other
That's
way,
right.
dude, because the nipple bleed.
All right, let's get into our last hypothetically prompt here. Well done on that one, guys. Would you rather sit and read Atlas Shrugged aloud with Bill Belichick, or would you rather have nipples?
Is this serious, dude?
Would you rather sit and read Atlas Shrugged aloud with Bill Belichick, or would you rather have nipples?
Now,
Choice is
are
yours.
Can I
we
ask
doing
a
this?
question?
Are we doing this like that you did in like middle school, where it's like he reads a paragraph, then I read a paragraph?
Yeah,
Or
and he's
popcorn?
not very good. He's
Oh.
not very good. He's that kid who you're like, oh my god, just let me read it myself.
Oh my goodness! And can I like will we take like a break or whatever? Can I like ask him questions about like the paths and stuff, or is it just very strict Atlas Shrugged session?
He will. You can ask him, and he might answer some reluctantly, but his mind's all on Atlas Shrugged. Like that's all he really cares about. So anything you're asking him, he's not like super interested in talking about it.
Okay,
If
and
it's
that's
not
what I was
Atlas
gonna
Shrugged.
ask. Is he like, because he doesn't strike me right away as the kind of guy who like would like be super into Atlas Shrugged, like sitting there like this is the greatest book that's ever written. But like, is he like that? Is he an Atlas Shrugged weirdo?
He strikes me as a strong libertarian, but you know. Who
Okay,
knows?
so like this is like his libertarian manifesto that we're going through, and like it's really
would you be that
reinforcing-
surprised if Bill Belichick was like a big Ayn Rand fan?
No, not at all. Now that
Right?
you're
Like
saying
that,
it
it
like
kind
that,
of okay. Like I wouldn't be
I
that
don't
surprised. It
think
makes
I've
sense.
ever read any of her books. I'll
Do
say
your
that.
job. Come on, that's basically the plot of Atlas Shrugged.
oh man, that's rough. Like going through that book with someone would be a difficult experience. I think that's where I draw the line. Like the nipples thing, like know what I mean? Like I would prefer to keep my nipples, but I don't like love them. I don't like look at my nipples in the mirror every day and I'm like, man, sure glad those are on my chest. Like it's just like they're there. They're part of the process. They're part
Yeah.
of my existence. It would be weird without them for a minute, but I'd get used to it. I'm not sure I'd ever get used to the experience of reading Atlas Shrugged with Bill Belichick. And that would take like a year, I feel
Yeah,
like.
he's very slow.
Yeah, and it's like he'd have a
Slow
lot
reader.
to say, a lot to comment on. Every time we'd get through a paragraph, he would have like some sort of commentary that he thinks it's like pseudo deep intellectual commentary about.
But it's like so surface level.
Oh, it's so
he has
surface
no
level.
idea.
Would he be doing different voices for all the different characters?
He would, but they're not,
They're all
like,
kind of the same.
Yeah, they're all pretty much just Bill Belichick. But you can tell he's
We're on
trying to
Atlas
do a different
Shrugged.
voice.
You could tell he's trying, but it comes out exactly the same.
It's still all just single level Bill.
Okay. All right. Well, in that case, I pick that. 100%. I choose that. Like the Bill
You
Belichick.
taking reading time with Bill?
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. I mean,
He's like, I'm a big Ayn Rand fan.
I've actually
He's like,
never
I read
read.
Atlas Shrugged every year.
I've never read any Ayn Rand books, so it'll be my first time getting to enjoy the book. Probably not enjoying it as much if I just read it like myself, like a normal person. But
Yeah.
You know, just to see Belichick attempt to do these different voices, I'm in. Sign me up. And I get to keep my nipples, which is a bonus.
Definitely.
What's the other book that's like notoriously difficult to read and like it's like
Clockwork Orange?
Cloud Atlas.
No,
All Atlas.
By David
Clockwork-
Foster Wallace.
Clockwork Orange has literal made up words in the first paragraph and they don't explain what they are. Like, you have
Infinite
to.
Jest.
It seems to be like your trigger, Coop. Sir Plant. And that Coop's like, stop making up
Well,
words.
at least Sir Plant, I could figure out what you were trying to say. In Clockwork Orange, like you have to just like use context clues and then like go back and read it again later.
Maria said the Odyssey. Yes, the famous David Foster Wallace novel. The
I
Odyssey.
remembered it. It's Infinite Jest is the other one where like the
That is
atlas
big.
at the
That's
back
big
is
one.
like just as long as the book. They say you really should have 2 copies of it and a dictionary on hand while you're reading it. Like one to go through the different footnotes and stuff. As long as it's not, you know what, I think I'd rather read Atlas Shrugged with Bill Belichick than Infinite Jest. I've tried to get through that one. That one's really, really difficult.
My mom in the chat saying, if this is someone's first time tuning in, well, then they are enjoying this lovely treat that we have.
If this is your first time tuning in, just know that I value my nipples enough to not want to read Atlas Shrugged with Bill Belichick, but not enough for 4 first-round picks. That's where I draw the line.
I had this first, when you were describing this book, this encyclopedia book, I had the same thought as Davis. That book sounds terrible. Why would you read that book? Why would anyone read that book? Why does anyone even know that book exists if you have to have a separate second book to translate the book? It's like, what is this, like the Rosetta Stone? What's the deal with this book? What's so good about the book that you have to torture yourself, dude?
I think it's like I'm sure there are people that actually enjoy it. Know what I mean? But I think for a lot of people, it's one of those things like it's like nerd cred. Know what I mean? To like get through Infinite Jest. It's like if you've read Infinite Jest, there's like some like cred that comes with it for like the amount of time and effort that you had to put in to get through
got
that
this whole
book.
like cult mystique thing, you know.
Wow.
So.
God.
So it's like a hipster. It's like a hipster club, dude.
It's like a hipster club right there.
He's got like cult following. He's a super interesting story. If you're not aware of David Foster Wallace's whole story, go look it up.
Okay.
Tommy asking if I've ever seen Clockwork Orange. You get one guess. You're right. It's no. No, I have not seen Clockwork Orange. I've not seen most good movies. I just don't watch them. I probably should.
The weird stuff that is.
I've seen Tangled 100 times, but I've never seen Clockwork Orange.
We got some questions
Nacho
here in the
Libre
chat.
100 times.
Nacho Libre 1,000 times.
What's the
We
book
got
about?
Ignatius in here asking CD or Amon-Ra St. Brown at wide receiver 2. Kenneth Walker is my flex. What do you guys think?
If it's
CD for me.
CD, yeah, can't go away from them. Even in full PPR.
Yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown he's up there, man. He's in that conversation, which is saying a lot. But I'm going CD.
CD's also going up against the Detroit Lions this week. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not even just CD versus Amon-Ra. Like CD's matchup is sexy. I'm not just like, this isn't a unpassionate CD. This is a, man, I'm excited to start CD everywhere I have them this week.
Right.
Dak's back. They're going against Detroit. Like this should be a fun CD week.
For some reason, YouTube auto moderates nipple. So this has just been like a nightmare for me the last 15 minutes because I just have to keep showing, like, you know, proving all the comments that have nipples in them, which is a lot because I've just been talking about nipples.
So hit that fun button, drop a nipple in the chat, folks. Let's go.
drop a nip in the chat.
Drop a nip in the chat.
We're
Smash that fun
collecting
button. Front Yard Fantasy.
Hit that nip button.
The nip hour. Did we have any more questions come in that we wanted to get to? I thought I saw one more from Swansea Snakes. There we go. Yeah. Swansea Sea Snakes had a question for us. He said, start or sit this week when you get a chance. We got a chance now. We're wrapping up nipple talk.
We got you, partner.
Geno Smith versus the Chargers or Marcus Mariota versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Coop, where are you going on this one?
I'm going Geno, man. Geno's just he's been, besides this past week, he's been very good. And Mariota, you know, even though he had the rushing touchdown, he only threw 14 times. That scares me a little bit about what Arthur Smith wants to do. I think deep down, Arthur Smith doesn't want to be like this, like heavy pass attack, whereas the Seahawks seem fine with it. So I like Geno. What do you guys think?
Geno for me as well. I have a hard time moving away from Geno. Mariota's not a bad start, but if Geno Smith's sitting out there, I'm rolling with Geno Smith.
I'll go Geno too.
There it is.
Triple Geno. Guys, if you're enjoying what we're doing over here, make sure you head on over to our YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. We're on YouTube at Front Yard Fantasy, and it's tons of nipple talk over there. Just nips on
Honestly,
nips.
overwhelming.
Nips. I just got overwhelmed right there. I was waiting to see if there was even more nipple talk coming. It was just that's all I got to say about that. Guys, coming up, we're going to be talking some more about nipples. Just kidding. We're going to be playing some poll perception, our game where we test the contestants' understanding of the public's perception of fantasy football players. We'll be going through some of our NFL rankings a little bit later as well. And then Tyler Dragon, NFL and track and field reporter for USA Today, is joining the show as well. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Better Sports Network.
Surely. Kickers never retire, I think. They just continue playing for all eternity. Like, there's only ever been 30 NFL kickers.
Yeah, they're always readily available too. It seems like, you know what I mean. Like they just get called up. They're like, you kicked for us 10 years ago, right? Why don't you
run it back? Let's
I imagine
Graham
every
Gano,
single kicker that gets the call is on a high school football field somewhere, just practicing field goals after hours. Like it's like 9 p.m. and they're out there just in the local high school kicking field goals, and the phone rings. They get the call and they're like, "Yeah, I'm ready. I've been practicing for this."
I have an amazing kicker story. If you guys have a second.
I got a couple.
The number one all-time field goal kicker is Adam Vinatieri. The next two guys are Morton and Gary Anderson, right? Gary Anderson was a dude from like South Africa that just played rugby and soccer. He just could absolutely boot the ball, right? They bring him over and he does like a tryout and he's just absolutely crushing the ball. And all these colleges are like, dude, we want you to come kick field goals for us. And he goes, I don't even want to play football. He goes, I want to play soccer. He goes, I want to play soccer. He goes, so if I can come to your school and play soccer, I'll also, in the fall, I'll kick for the football team. And Syracuse was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, you're on the soccer team. Like, come on. And he went to Syracuse to play soccer, but also kick field goals. And then he ended up being a top 3 point scorer in the NFL all the time.
That's ridiculous.
And his answer to recruiters was, I don't want to play football. I'll do it in my spare time.
Yeah. He's like, you got a spot for me in the soccer team. Syracuse is like, yeah, we got a spot for you.
We don't even care about our soccer team.
We don't even care.
We totally have that spot.
Right? They had to like cobble together a soccer team. This guy's the captain.
Oh my God. It's like Accepted, the movie, but they just like had to throw together a whole fake soccer team.
Somehow they still got Justin Long.
Right, yeah. Like Adam Sandler's the coach. And dude, it's imagine they win the national championship. That's a movie, dog. Yeah.
Boom!
Someone call up Disney. Yeah, we just wrote a movie for you, Disney. This has Disney sports movie written all over. I'm borderline crying right here just thinking about this movie right now.
Dude, the story gets even crazier. Like I should have looked it up again, but like it was like a high school coach that went and found him, and then that high school coach ended up being somebody crazy famous that like coached for the Rams.
Stay tuned for sports. Talk about your picks, your fantasy teams, and your sports collectibles on Better Sports Network.
Welcome back in, everyone, to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Davis Peng in the chat dropping some genius during the break. He says we should start a TV network called Nickelodeon. He drops
Smart
that and
as
says,
hell.
going back to bed. See you later, friends. Dude woke up at 4 a.m., came up with Nickelodeon, and went back to sleep. That's a full day's work.
Just mic drop. Mic drop right
Beethoven.
there.
Heads out. Enjoy your second sleep, Davis. We'll miss you.
Yeah,
we'll miss little nuggets.
Share all
like
your brilliant ideas with us
Man,
when you wake up.
If that comes to him while he's awake, what does he dream about?
Cats.
Just cats. He does have a
Primarily.
cool cat.
He does have cats.
Primarily cats. Guys, we're about to get into our game Poll Perception. This is the game where we test your knowledge of the public's perception of NFL or fantasy football players. So let's get into some poll perception right now. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it. This game, how this game works is I've got 5 polls that we found online ahead of time. Most of these about fantasy football. I'm going to ask one of you guys to tell me what percentage of people chose side A in these polls, the first option in these polls. The closer you are, the more points you're going to get, up to a max of 10 if you get it exactly right. Now, the other contestant, your job is going to be guessing whether the first contestant's answer is over or under the actual response. I said that wrong. Don't listen to me. You're going to be guessing whether the actual answer is over or under the line that your opponent set. So if JL guessed 50%, you think the actual one is in the 60s, you're going to guess over. And in the 40s, you guessed it. You're going to guess under if you think that's the case. You'll get 2 points for getting that right. We're going to alternate back and forth on who is doing the guessing, who is setting the line. Whoever's got the most points at the end of that 5th round is going to be our poll perception champion. You guys ready?
So ready.
Oh, yeah. Coop's favorite game.
I'm going to be the
Coop,
champ, dude. I know exactly what Twitter's thinking.
Today?
I know what Twitter's thinking. So I'm going to go, let's see. Is Simon feeling like he's going to let me go first? Or if I say first, is he going to let JL go first? I will say first.
That is the game.
You're going first today, Coop. Coop, you got it. You are up first in today's game of poll perception. And here is your first poll. This comes to you from Good Morning Football. What's the defining image of week 6? Sauce Gardner Cheesehead, Josh Allen Hurdle, Jamar Chase TD, or the Bailey Zappi Flex? What percentage of people said it was the Sauce Gardner Cheesehead photo was the photo of the week?
I want to say this has got to be, I think people will vote for the Cheesehead. Dude, I watched the Patriots game. I don't really remember the Bailey Zappi Flex, to be honest with you. So I think that one's going to be pretty far down. What was the third one again? So we had the Hurdle,
Jamar Chase TD, Hurdle, Sauce Gardner Cheesehead, and Flex.
I could say that the Cheesehead could be as high. The Cheesehead might be over 50%. I think the Cheesehead's pretty strong image from this week. Most impressive. I will go with 61% of people picked the Cheesehead photo.
61,
which is high for a 4-name poll, but final answer.
61%. John Luke, do you think the actual percentage is over or under JL's Coop's guess of 61%? And a reminder to everyone in the chat while JL's guessing here, play along with us. Throw your answers in there. Give us your percentage guess. If you're very close, we'll give you a shout out. And if you're very wrong, we'll mock you for getting that one so wrong, you idiot.
And if you
Call
really
your parents and tell them about
call
it.
in, dude. If you really want to play, call in. You can have my spot. I'll just chill here, be Mr. Cool.
Show us up. Just add them in. You can. This is a game. Play as many players as you want.
I guess you can play.
61% is such an annoying guess, Coop.
Borderline perfect. Queen Bee that. You won't. Mr. Cool would.
I'll do anything that I'm challenged to. Queen Bee.
Oh.
JL Queen Bee in it thinks it's exactly the answer that Coop threw out there.
Boy. You naughty.
Swansea guessing 55%. We got Tommy with a guess of 48%. And Maria coming in with the under.
The longer this goes without anyone hitting a Queen Bee, it's like it's like the lottery. It's the more valuable it gets, where like the glory is there. I want to be the first now.
What if every time someone guessed Queen Bee, we upped the amount it was worth by 1 point? Like
it would be worth like 89 right now.
Yeah, easily, dude.
Just end the game.
It's
golden snitch of poll percentage.
It's like when you're walking around Dave and Buster's and you see the jackpot that's like at like 14,000 next to all the ones that are like 3,000. You're like, I don't care how hard this game is. All my points are going in here. It's not even fun.
On your 3 p.m. show, the moment I first heard the Queen Bee was even an option, I'm pretty sure I said it within 1 or 2 polls of it being an option. I couldn't resist.
You did.
Tommy said, what if the other guy had to dress up as a Queen Bee? If someone nails a Queen Bee, I will dress up as a bee for the next show. Full face paint, everything. I'll get my best bee outfit on for the whole Jerry Seinfeld.
Now I'm rooting for JL here. We should just play all day. The second answer has to be Queen Bee.
This just ruins this game.
It truly would.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have made that because the whole game's gonna be ruined just trying to get me in a bee outfit. over and over and over again.
100%. I want that so bad.
Yeah, Maria says plus a crown. Of course, I'm the
Naturally.
queen bee. I would have to wear a crown there. Well,
Nice.
Coop guessed 61%. Dustin had another guess of 10%, saying that the hurdle he thinks is the winner. The actual percentage of people that chose the Sauce Gardner Cheesehead was 40%. 40% on the Cheesehead side. Dustin was right. Josh Allen with 48% on the Josh Allen hurdle is the winning image
Lame.
of that week. And Coop, you read it perfectly. The other two people didn't even care about 6% for the Zappy Flex and 6% for the Jamar Chase TD as well. But there are no points on that one. It's going to be 0-0 after Coop's first poll. Coop, you were more than 15 percentage points away. JL, it was not exactly the right answer. It was 20 percentage points away.
I'll come back stronger.
If you weren't
Come
if
back
you weren't
strong.
if you weren't peer pressured to queen bee that, would you have picked over or under?
I wouldn't have because I can't think for myself. So I would have just went queen bee.
Perfect.
I would have just picked up on your alpha vibes, Scoop.
I would send him. Should I put the shades back on?
Yeah, it was the Coolster vibes.
Where's Coolster this morning, dude? Probably being too cool. Probably too cool for this nipple show.
On Wednesdays, Coolster's got better things to do on Wednesdays, man.
like,
It's
yeah.
Wednesday, my
Talk
talk.
stupid
Wednesday,
nipples
my
with you, Coop.
dudes.
He's waiting in line at Chili's for happy hour, is what he's doing. He's got to be the first one there for Chili's happy hour.
Breakfast
Yeah, I'm
Chili's,
enjoying it
bro?
right after the show.
Yeah, you're gonna go get those. You're gonna go get those Texas Ritas or whatever they have on the menu at Chili's. Maybe get some.
Yeah, I'm gonna get whatever they have on the menu. at
When you
Chili's.
guys get when you guys get breakfast at Chili's, what do you usually get?
Usually I'll go for the Southwest Papadillas, but not always.
You got to get the skillet queso and then
Papadilla.
some French fries, and then you throw the French fries in the skillet queso, and it makes like a cheesy breakfast potato mess. And that's the go-to breakfast at Chili's. But then you got to cancel your plans for the rest of the day because you just ate a whole skillet queso. So unless you can do your
And
plans
breakfast
from
at
the
Chili's.
restroom, yeah. And I'm pretty sure if you eat breakfast at Chili's, you're required to eat lunch and dinner there as well. Like you just have to spend the whole day at the bar. You become a staple of the restaurant. Like they
No
don't let
re-entry
you-
type of deal.
They don't let you leave.
Whoa. I've never seen
Did you
a
finally see that
papadilla.
picture I sent you last night?
I've never seen a papadilla before. These look amazing. What's the difference between this and a
I'm gonna be honest with you. I have
quesadilla?
no idea what a papadilla is. I think was that Papa John's?
Yeah, dude.
It is.
I feel
But
like
I
I've seen the
prefer.
commercials.
Oh, that's
I
wait,
prefer-
that's just a quesadilla. I was like, what's the difference between this and a quesadilla? It's just a quesadilla from Papa John's.
It's a quesadilla made out of pizza dough.
It's like the fruit quake from Mountain Dew.
I was like, papadilla, what is this? What is this exotic dish?
I'll tell you what
It's
a
just
papadilla is.
It's just like a Dunkachino. It's just like
It's
a poorly
Dunkachino.
crafted portmanteau. Are you kidding me?
A
dude?
papadilla is a ripoff of the greatest invention that happened in Pendleton, South Carolina. There
The
was a
Dewey Decimal
restaurant
System?
called Wings and Wedgies where you would go.
That's a good
And
name.
it was the best restaurant. It was this tiny little place. More people should have been going to it because it closed down because not enough people went.
Aw.
But a wedgie was basically a papadilla. It was a sandwich made out of pizza dough, and they would fill those things with Italian dressing and pizza toppings and all this other stuff. And it was so freaking good. And then Papa John's just comes in with their papadilla, thinking they can do it better. I'm on to you, Papa John's.
It's
I'm on to
just
you.
a quesadilla, dude.
I'm on to you. They also
Answer
had
these questions?
yeah, let's answer some more of these questions. You guys don't want to hear more about wings and wedgies. Okay, fine. I'll tell you more about wings and wedgies before I just
Twist my arm.
You've
We
never
had a
heard about wings
question-
and wedgies. Boy, do I envy you. Where do I begin?
Mark had a question for us. He said, should I do Dak and Kirk for Herbert? So trade Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins. Is that Kirk Cousins double quarterback trade or Dak? And it's all, man, we got first names and last names mixed up in here. Mark, honestly, I think we need a little bit more information on which Kirk, because Kirk Cousins or Christian Kirk might change this, right? And it's hard to imagine this is two quarterbacks for another quarterback.
Yeah,
it
and,
Chris-
and
is it-
maybe league details too. Is super flex
Is
or
it-
one QB would help.
Is it Christian Kirk or the Christian Kirk?
That is a big deal.
While we're waiting for some more information from Mark, we had a question from Dennis in here. He said, half PPR, I have Kyler Murray, Robbie Anderson, and Rondale Moore are available. J.K. Dobbins, Darren Waller, and Akers too. I could drop Kenyon Drake or Michael Thomas. They don't have a designated tight end spot. It's a tight end wide receiver flex. 2-4 record, weaker at wide receiver. So would you guys be dropping Kenyon Drake or Michael Thomas for Robbie Anderson, Rondale Moore, J.K. Dobbins, Darren Waller, or Cam Akers?
Dobbins.
Who would you drop, Drake or Michael
For
Thomas?
Dobbins.
I would probably drop Drake for Dobbins. Yeah, I would do that.
I think the long-term upside's there. As long as Dobbins is, the tightness in the surgically repaired knee scares me. It sounds scary just saying it just now. So
Yeah,
but I think I'd still rather have, if you're not starting Drake right now, then I would rather just have Dobbins long-term as a stash on the bench. So I'm with you.
yeah. Drake is a temporary guy, short-term value for now.
And do we ever
we
find
got-
out if it was Christian Kirk or Catholic Kirk on that?
Not yet.
Catholic or
Kirk Cousins, I think is who he's
Uh-huh.
referring to right there.
He actually,
No, I do not know.
he's very
feels like a Protestant.
Christian Kirk, super religious. He actually just wrote, there's like a court case
Christian Kirk
going.
is?
No. I can't speak for Christian Kirk, but I know Kirk Cousins is super, super religious. Like he does like talks on it and stuff. And he actually just recently, there's a high school case where the high school basically told the coach that he can't be like forcing the team to do like religious things. And he was basically saying that it's voluntary. And then he got fired for like praying at the middle of the field. And Kirk Cousins.
You talk about the Supreme Court thing?
Yeah, Kirk Cousins filed an actual amicus brief that goes on record, like kind of having that guy's back. Like he wrote this like letter about like football and religion, the whole thing, like in that guy's behalf. Like he's in it that deep.
Interesting.
I didn't know that. That is interesting. I think I have seen stuff with him before talking about it, but it's interesting.
One of them was like, one of them he was like, I just
that
need
Kirk or if
Yeah.
it's-
I think he's a new Methodist.
Is it amicus brief Christian Kirk or Christian Kirk,
Amicus
the $20 million man?
Amicus brief
look up the
sounds
speech
like,
where
Ron novel.
Look up the speech where Kirk Cousins compares him taking a 1-year contract to like Moses parting the Red Sea and him saying that he only needs enough manna for a day, but then he got a $30 million contract, which is probably a little more manna than he needs for each day. You look up that speech for me.
Manna, is this dude playing Magic?
Man,
the
I know,
Gathering?
right?
Like,
It's a weird context shift.
Yeah.
Is it him
Kinda-
using this terminology? Is he like a big mana bro?
Honestly,
Manna's-
like, going from like amicus brief in favor of like religion in schools to needing to recharge his mana is quite
Yeah.
the switch, right? Like those are
Send you on a
pretty-
quest to acquire the amicus brief.
Oh man, we got to add Kirk Cousins into this D&D campaign. We're making a
No.
Kirk Cousins character. He's in there now.
Powerful
We have
this
another
week.
question over here from Tyson. Tyson said Derek Carr or Tua this week. So would you start Derek Carr or Tua Tagovailoa this week? Coop, what are you thinking?
I have those guys back to back in my rankings at 10 and 11. I feel like if Tua didn't go through this whole saga, we would say him right away, right?
Yeah.
Like he's more fun and interesting than Carr. The matchup is
Carr plays the Texans and Tua's playing Pittsburgh this week.
Yeah. So it's a matter of upside, ceiling versus floor. But I think Tua is the guy I want. Very exciting. He's got the wide receiver leading the league in yards this year, Tyreek Hill.
I'm with you. It's Tua Tagovailoa for me. I'm trusting that they're being careful with him after this. Know what I mean? Like I'm trusting if he's out on the field, he's ready to go. I know it was not great what we saw on the field last 2 times Tua was out there, but if they're going to put him back out there, I'm trusting that they've got his best interest in mind, and I'm going to be comfortable starting him. I'm playing him as soon as he's back out there because he was killing it before. Absolutely killing it. And Scott Fish with a great point. Pittsburgh still has like 43 defensive backs out. Yeah, all 43 of them. I think they might have gotten one back, so they're down to just 42 out at this point, Scott, but your point still stands.
JL, are you with
Sorry,
us?
Scott.
Or are you against us?
I'm totally here with you guys right now. I'm fine starting Derek Carr if you want to start him in this matchup against Houston. I agree with you guys. If Tua probably didn't go through this, the answer's probably Tua. But that, along with the matchup for Derek Carr, makes it a little more interesting.
Absolutely. We got another question in here. Dennis wanted to know half PPR start 2. Montgomery, Lazard, Najee, Ayuk, CEH, and Drake are there as well. So Montgomery, Lazard, Najee, Ayuk, CEH, and Drake got to start 2 of those guys. What are you thinking?
Start 2. I'm definitely going to start David Montgomery.
Yep.
we've not really gotten any reasons not to start that fella. And then I think I would. So it's either Lazard or Ayuk for me.
That's exactly where I was sitting. Is it's one of those two receivers, but they're close.
Lazard's playing all the snaps. They're both playing pretty much every snap, actually. I think if Ayuk didn't score 2 touchdowns last week, I would go with Lazard. So I think that's who I'm going to go with. I'm not going to let those touchdowns poison
Lazard.
me.
The match for Lazard and Ayuk are good this week. I'm with you guys. I go Montgomery and Lazard.
I'm between Lazard and Ayuk. I'm probably going Lazard as well. But I love Brandon Ayuk's a great start this week. Like if you can fit him in that lineup, because I do think he's a great start as well. One more question in here. Tyson wanted to know, who should he bench? Waddle, Godwin, or Lamb? So between those 3 players, what a problem to have. Waddle, Godwin, or Lamb.
Sounds like for me, time for me to throw in my classic advice. Do a 2-for-1 trade, Tyson, my man. You with those wide receivers, you gotta try and do a 2-for-1 to get like I don't even know, Justin Jefferson. Like who? He must have. Actually, Jefferson and Kupp are on bye this week. What wide receivers do you have where you have questions about those guys? I don't even know how that could work.
Maybe he only starts 2 wide receivers and there's no flex spot, because I would be trying to start all 3 of these guys this week. If I have to bench one, it's Godwin, but I don't want Godwin on my bench.
I don't like that.
Me neither, but it is Godwin. I want him in my lineup, JL, or in my living room. That'd be pretty cool if I walked out of this room, my office right now, and Chris Godwin was sitting on my couch playing Switch or something.
I don't know if this is based in fact, but I just feel like he's 6'9".
Yeah,
is he super tall?
I'm pretty sure he plays a cooler system than Switch. He definitely is more of an Xbox or a PS5 guy.
A PS5 guy.
Cooler system. It's not a contest. Of course, the Xbox or PS5 guy would be like, "Oh, it's cooler."
It's not a contest if you're the guy
definitely
who only owns the Switch.
I've desperately wanted to play the Zelda games, the Breath of the Wild and all that, but not enough to buy a Switch.
Dude, come over, you can play.
You can't play on mine after what you just said.
After what
you're not allowed to play on my Switch.
I've besmirched.
It's off limits.
Yeah. Sorry, dude. Xbox, bro.
It's the coolest console there is. JL, you ready for your next poll?
Yeah. There was one more question. Can we hit that real quick?
Yeah, let's hit it.
Tyson says, sorry, another question. Don't ever apologize for questions. That's why we are here. We love them. Hunter Henry or Darren Waller, tight end, half PPR.
Wow.
Mr. Tickler?
Dude, Hunter Henry over the last 2 games has played every snap except for 3. That is very good usage. And Bailey Zappi seems to like him. So if Bailey Zappi's in there, I'm tempted to start Hunter Henry over Darren Waller this week, as crazy as that sounds. Waller's been a little banged up. We don't know how he's going to come out. I guess he's got the Texans. So, I mean, that's a close one, but man, I really got to break it down a little further. But I don't know, man. Waller's just been they like Devontae Adams, they like Renfro. Upside doesn't seem that great.
Is Waller in the glob?
He's getting there for me.
I hope not.
He's getting there.
You
got to start Darren. You got to start Darren Waller. Can't start Hunter Henry.
Is Hunter Henry out of the blob?
Hunter Henry is squarely in the glob.
He's so blobbed.
He's captain of the glob.
He might be the blob. Yeah, like he is the blob.
He's like the guy who's been in high school and he's like 25.
He's coming around with Bailey Zappi, but when you think about his earlier games this year, the floor is so low. Like Darren Waller's not going to have a game where he has 1 or 2 targets the way Henry did in the early season. So go with Darren Waller. I've pivoted. I had to think through it. It's Darren Waller.
Darren Waller, man. Yeah, I think I'm with you. I'm not benching Darren Waller for Hunter Henry.
Not against the Texans.
It's too sexy. Too sexy of a matchup to put Darren Waller on your bench. JL, you agreeing with us?
I'm going to go Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry.
Yep. Hunter Henry.
It's kind of scary how close it is, but I still got to stick with Waller.
Is it because you like the way he smells?
Even as a Patriots fan, it's because of his smile.
Oh, his smile. I thought it was because of his smell, his scent.
Stench, his musk.
His musk.
Fresh cottage cheese and lemon, I believe.
My Auntie Koopy would pick Darren Waller, and I have to lean to which she would go because she's the smartest and she's the coolest. So
Auntie Koopy the GOAT.
Okay, JL, let's hit your next poll. We'll keep answering these questions in between polls, but here, this one's coming to you. Who was the better running back between these two players? Barry Sanders or Walter Payton? What percentage of people said Barry Sanders in this poll?
Wow, dude. That's a tough one, bro.
Peyton Manning was a quarterback, so he probably didn't run that much. I'm gonna go with
this came from Herb
68%.
Lawrence. Just so you know, this came from
Herb
Lawrence.
Herb Lawrence.
Yep.
Herb sounds like a Bears fan.
Herb Kirk Street.
What was your
I'm
answer?
gonna go with
Dale?
68%.
In favor of Barry.
Always Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, Barry's
68% from JL. Coop, what are you going with on this one?
Barry Sanders is my favorite player of all time. That's a fact. Just love the way he was exciting, and also like, how can you be that exciting and also not be a showboat? Like, he would just, like run all over the field. He'd run 50 yards this way and then 60 yards this way and score a touchdown, and then he would just flip the ball to the ref and like shake his teammate's hand, like you know what I mean, like it was a business transaction. Like, there's something about that I really love. So that's my favorite player, Barry Sanders. And I don't have a Barry Sanders jersey, so anyone listening, maybe a special aunt of mine, maybe my buddy Swansea Sea Snakes, if you're looking to get me a Christmas present, that's the one.
Your birthday did just pass, so
I just want to.
With all that being said, I think it's close enough between these two players that I'm going to go on.
I was trying to save JL. I was going to give some more additional information, but we're just going to roll with it now because Coop made his guess without the additional information as well.
This guy's from
I got
Chicago.
it. I picked up on what it was.
This guy has a picture of it. His banner picture is a deep dish pizza.
This guy's the co-host of Locked On Sox. He's the Chicago White Sox co-host. He's from Chicago, and he's formerly of 670 The Score, which is a Chicago sports talk radio station.
Really hoping it was just like a podcast about Sox.
I have not looked at the answer yet here, so I don't know if it affected it, but I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that it was Bears related, but it was too late. Too late for Dale.
Definitely affected
that. What you're saying about Barry Sanders shaking hands, Coop, reminded me. Maria showed me this TikTok yesterday. It was just Joe Burrow going out himself to like random NFL players. Have you guys seen this?
No.
Yeah, I got.
He like walks up to Aaron Donald. He's like, hey, Aaron, I'm Joe. Nice to meet you.
He's like, I know who you are.
He knows who you is.
I sacked you like 8 times in the Super Bowl. Remember?
It was really funny. Very funny. So what was the percentage you went with? No, I went with 68%.
Which, yeah.
Over or under, Simon?
Which now we've learned that's probably going to be crazy wrong because this guy,
big Sox guy.
And Coop, you went with what? You went with the under?
Under.
Coop went with the under. We had some guesses in the chat. Tommy with 58%. Dustin with 30%. Well, the actual percentage of people that chose Barry Sanders in this poll was 26%. 26%, JL. You were very wrong on that one. Meaning
points.
Coop is going to get
to the Queen Bee.
JL just got the rug. He got rug pulled so hard here.
I never stand on rugs.
You should have got another guess. You should have got another guess after we found out that guy lives in Southside Chicago.
I tried to jump in. I tried to jump in and warn you guys, but you guys didn't want to hear it. You didn't want to know that the Bears were in this guy's handle.
We can't
Didn't
handle
matter. Didn't matter what I had to say.
I said Herb sounds like a Bears fan. Did I not? You check the tape.
No, you did say it. You did say that. You said that, but I couldn't confirm yet. Tommy in here with the what? What? Absolutely shocked. This is a Bears fans Twitter's account. Coop, you shocked by this? Would you pick Walter Payton or Barry Sanders?
It's obviously Barry Sanders, and these Bears fans are just super biased. You know what I mean? Walter Payton, he was good. Obviously, he was good. He was amazing. Probably the second best running back of all time behind Barry Sanders. So if you put him in a head-to-head poll, Barry should win this handedly. 68%. If you ask unbiased crowd, I think it would be 68% Barry Sanders. I bet we could find a poll between those guys that was asked by an unbiased one, and it probably would be exactly 68%. So.
Exactly on the dot. Well, too bad this poll wasn't, Joe.
words.
You're going to get no points for that. Dustin would have gotten a couple points for his guess of
the D-Unit.
30%. He was only 5 percentage points off, or 4
Scott
percentage
visited.
points
I'm
off.
starting a pod called Socks on Lock. Interesting.
I like that, dude.
Co-host
It's-
Drew
it's-
Lock.
Dude, I was
Socks
gonna
on
say,
Drew
yeah,
Lock.
just like socks all over him.
It says- the cover is the same naked covered in socks.
I like that. Are you naked if you're covered in socks, though?
That's a good question.
Bit of a riddle.
I mean,
They're
are you
strapped through
wearing the
locks,
socks
so-
or are they just on you? Because like you can
Just
be
on
naked
you.
under a blanket. You're still
naked under a blanket. At what point does the blanket become like a toga? Does it has to be clipped?
Yeah.
It has to be clipped in the back.
If it supports itself, it's clothing. If
Okay.
when you stand up, it doesn't fall off, then it's
The
clothing.
moment you try and hide anything underneath it,
So if you put like a blanket over your shoulders like a shawl, but like your wiener's out in the front, you're technically wearing clothes. Is what you're saying?
You are,
You're
but
not.
you're
You're
not
not naked.
clothed.
you
are
you're,
not
fully
you're
clothed.
accessorized. You're just not dressed.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. I think that's right.
It's like if you just put on a scarf, but you're fully naked.
Yeah,
I say
you are
that's right.
just absolutely.
You're just
yeah,
naked with a scarf.
you're wearing a scarf. You have clothes on.
That's
but
actually the name of my autobiography.
naked in a scarf.
Naked with
Naked
in a
with naked
scarf.
in a scarf.
Man, every once in a while, I'm like, man, I can really pull this scarf off. But then I put it on and I walk outside and I'm like, I live in Texas. There's no need to ever wear a scarf. Like, it doesn't matter how good this looks. I am being ridiculous by putting this on. Like, there's just never
And
weather
Miss
where
Macy
where it's
3 hours.
necessary. Like,
That's like,
Like-
yeah, that's like anyone up here wearing a cowboy hat. Although my buddy Rory did wear a cowboy hat to my wedding this week and kind of crushed it. So I guess
I don't respect
One-
anyone who wears a cowboy hat non-ironically. If that's a word.
I
I wanna say
disagree
that
with that.
knowing Rory, I think it was at least partially ironically.
Then I'm totally cool with it. It's great.
Is the people, I don't mind wearing a cowboy hat if like, yo, are you a cowboy? Like, is this shit
Yeah.
protecting you from
For
the
sure.
sun?
Clint Eastwood,
what I
you're
mean?
good.
Like,
Exception.
or like even like, are you working out and like this is protecting you from the sun? This is like has utility instead of it just
Bucket
being
hat.
like a
Bucket
fashion
hat, bro.
statement, like I wear mine for. But it is a little bit ironic, right? But
You wear
cool
you
with
wear
it.
yours like Kid Rock.
yeah,
Tip down
exactly. Yeah,
with a little
So this is
hole
the
so
second
hay
day
coming out of your
in
mouth.
a row I've managed to call you Kid Rock.
yeah. I'm going the other route today. My icon, Kid Rock, just is who I aspire to be.
Cowboy.
Is the way I'm going on that one. We got Nick in here saying, "Congrats on the wedding, man! Thank you
Nick,
so
Nick.
much." But I didn't get married recently.
Congrats though.
You should have said that to Coop. Coop, congrats on the wedding from Nick, giving you a big old congrats.
Thanks, dude. Yo, what's your guys' policy on wearing a sombrero unironically?
Dude, pro sombrero all the time.
It's kind of hard to wear one with this headphone, but I'll rock it. And
Yeah, I imagine that's not
thank you,
working
Nick.
I was
very well.
born in the darkness.
Nick also has a question. Robert Tonyan or Daniel Bellinger this week? I'm still going to go with Tonyan, even though Bellinger finally did play a full snap share. I don't quite trust Bellinger the way I do Tonyan to at least get a couple targets. And this past week, he got 10. I think Tonyan's on the up and up. I did a little more looking into what Scott Fish said yesterday about Robert Tonyan no longer
Scott
being
Fish?
the famous Scott Fish, who, if the chat is correct here, it's his birthday today. What? Happy birthday, Scott Fish.
His birthday today?
That's what Joey said.
That's what
but
Joey
I'm
said,
still
dude.
kidding.
Is that
not in my
true? Is
calendar.
that true, Scott? But anyway,
Dude,
like
I would have saved your birthday in my calendar.
I looked at it, and throughout the year so far, Robert Tonyan has been playing like 53%, or he's been running routes on 53% of the dropbacks. So if he had kept that going for this game, when they ran 51 pass plays, he would have only run like 27 routes. This week he ran 39. So Scott Fish is right that they did ramp him up a little bit this week, and I think that does continue, in which case I think Robert Tonyan has a real shot to potentially be a top 2 target on the team. Daniel Bellinger, I'm going Tonyan.
Though, if I remember correctly, what Scott was saying is that he's at 100% now. This is not limited. Like they ramped him up and
this is
said
their
this
most they're
isn't
gonna use
him being limited.
Yeah. In which
and
case,
like how the wording was.
about 70% of the snaps is kind of what he does. But I mean, to get those kind of targets, I don't know. Interesting to me. More interesting than Bellinger. Bellinger's fine.
I'm with you. Ian had a question in here from Ian Fish. He said, should I start Claypool against the
Yeah.
Miami D or Amari Cooper against the Baltimore D? I'm
Good
going to Amari
morning,
Cooper.
Ian. I'm going Amari
morning.
Cooper too.
I'm going to Amari Cooper.
Amari disappears
By the
against good corners, and Baltimore doesn't have any of those. So give me Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper. And then Tyson has one more
Marlon
question for
Humphrey.
us. He said, would you start Kenyon Drake or Tyquan Thornton in PPR? JL, you going Tyquan Thornton or Kenyon Drake?
What are their matchups?
Well, Kenyon Drake's playing the Browns, and who do the
right?
Patriots got this weekend?
Bears on Monday Night Football.
Bears.
That's fun.
That's right.
Bears. I'm gonna go with Kenyon Drake in this one. You know, you picked him up for that short-term value. Now's the time to play him.
Dick Jail
And
makes
it's
a
a
great
super
point.
easy matchup against Cleveland.
Regardless of which way you go, like if you're not starting Kenyon Drake this week, when are you starting him? Because like now, J.K. Dobbins has the knee tightness and Drake looked good last week. If you're not starting him now, then I don't even know why you're rostering him. So start Kenyon Drake, but hold on Tyquan Thornton. If Tyquan Thornton is used heavily this week, then you got to find a way to get him in the lineup because he looked explosive.
Absolutely. Ian Fish saying thank you. That's what he had. No problem, guys. And if you have questions, throw them in the chat. We are more than happy to continue answering them. We love
so
answering
dumb,
questions.
but I was talking to Scott Fish on the phone yesterday and just impulse bought FYF.fish. So we are now the proud owners of FYF.fish.
Is there anything on it yet?
Nothing yet.
So now we
There'll
own,
be something though.
So the domains that you have impulse bought now are rotofeet.com and FYF.fish.
Still got that one? Yep.
Okay, FYF.fish.
Oh, I've
and
bought many more than that. Those are just the
rotofeet.com.
ones I've confessed to you.
Rotofeet is still my favorite. That we have that if we ever want to do something with it.
Dr. Mike Microanalysis says Bellinger played 61
Hey, good
snaps.
morning, Ed.
Appreciate the get down the microanalysis on that. But 60, he did play 60 of 64 snaps, which is huge. But the thing is, let's take a second to think about what his ceiling is then. If that's him playing every snap and he has 38 yards, and his best game so far this season is 40 yards, then his ceiling isn't super high as of right now. They did ask him to stay in and block for 4 pass plays. I moved Bellinger up in my rankings. I just can't move him up higher than Robert Tonyan right now because Tonyan just got 10 targets this week. He had double-digit targets last week. So
do you think, Coop, that has anything to do with the fact that there's just not much competition or not many other options, so the defense can just hyper focus on Bellinger?
Yeah, I think what it seemed like is they wanted to kind of do like a little bit of a tryout situation between him and Tanner Hudson. Tanner Hudson was playing a good chunk of snaps and he wasn't catching the ball. So I think they finally just decided Tanner Hudson experience is over and we're just going to use Daniel Bellinger every snap, which is great for Daniel Bellinger. I think that's why he increased his snap share there. So I think they're probably going to phase Hudson out a bit. I mean, Hudson up till now had run more routes than Bellinger. And this week, Bellinger played 60 snaps and Hudson played 8. So I think that's what the change is. They just basically said, okay, it's the Bellinger show now.
The Bellinger show.
The Bellinger show. Also, we've got confirmation from Ian that it is in fact Scott Fish's birthday. So big happy birthday to Scott Fish.
Oh, dude.
Everybody watching, make sure you go wish Scott a happy birthday. There's no one that deserves to have a good day more than Scott. Scott, we love you, man. And
truly one of our closest friends.
Hope your day is magical. Full of some Minnesota magic is what I hope is happening.
Bringing happiness and joy to children across the country. And that's a literal fact.
Kirk Cousins is not Minnesota magic.
Stephon Diggs catching a ball over a Saints cornerback and sealing the game is Minnesota magic.
Oh, that game.
Guys, coming up, we're going to keep wishing happy birthday to Scott for at least an hour repeatedly over and over again. Then after that, we're going to continue our game of poll perception. And then Tyler Dragon of USA Today is coming on a little bit later today as well. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Better Sports Network.
We got to get a team in Honolulu. What about that, Ray? You think Oakland? Nobody's talking about Honolulu for the Oakland A's to move to. How badass would that be to have a Major League Baseball team? Instead, they want to go to where it's 120 degrees in the desert of Vegas.
Right.
Ray, they should pick up and go to Honolulu. That would be epic right there for the A's.
They could go to Honolulu and instead of playing 12 games against a team throughout the course of the year, you just play a 12-game set. Just get it done.
What's the flight from the Bay Area? 4 hours?
It's depending which direction you're going, it's 5.5.
Okay, that's not terrible. You'd have to manage the schedule a bit.
Right.
But it's doable. You play your West Coast games and then maybe you give an extra day. You play in San Francisco through Sunday. Mm-hmm. And then you have your Monday off. Everybody gets their Monday off and then they play, out in Hawaii for 4 games. And they come back for the weekend.
It's very similar time-wise for us in California, in the Bay Area, to go to Hawaii as it is to go to New York. It's very similar. So yeah, like you're saying, Giants do that to go to the Mets. The A's do that to go to the Yankees. They do it, so it would be very similar.
They would be they've already got the baseball background. I mean, they're dominant. The island loves their baseball. And Ray, you could even rebrand the team from the Oakland A's to the Oakland Lays. You could do the Lays, Ray. Look at that.
Good. That's actually, there's no way that would ever happen, but that's pretty good, Kyle. On the fly.
I'm giving away like free marketing right here.
Good work.
Right on the show.
The plan is for them to stay here, but the fans hate them. I don't know if the city likes them. They can't. I mean, it's embarrassing. I don't know. The plan
There's
is
a lot of land in Hawaii. Just think about the views, Ray, of the Pacific. It would put your crap ballpark in San Francisco to shame. Like, everybody thinks that's a good view.
Right.
They'd have like waterfalls and real palm trees and the Pacific Ocean.
People
Like,
trolling fire in the 7th
they
inning
would
stretch.
make the Giants Park look like, the vet in Philly. It would look that awful if they moved to Hawaii.
And then you go to your flip-flops or shorts. They serve Mai Tais. They give Lays away. Or, the first 5,000 fans, whatever.
Well, everybody in the chat room loves it. Every time I get a compliment, I don't bring it up on the show.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I don't want to be that guy.
Call, chat, enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We are in the midst of a game of poll perception. The score is 2-0 for Coop after the first two polls. And we are back to Coop for poll number 3. Point of order, Coop?
Got something to say real quick. During the break, I did a little Googling, right? Just because I want to double check. I don't want to be giving any info out there that isn't necessarily true. And with the Tanner Hudson thing there, when I said it was the Daniel Bellinger show, I didn't realize that Tanner Hudson throughout the week was dealing with an illness, not COVID, but he was sick. So maybe the fact that he only played, 8 snaps this week could just simply be because he was sick this week. So with Daniel Bellinger, we moved him up. We kind of like what we're seeing. He's ramping his way up. I want to see just one more week where Tanner Hudson's at full strength and Daniel Bellinger plays a full snap share, because that's been what's holding him back, is that randomly they would just have Tanner Hudson come in, and Hudson is playing like wide receiver. Like, it's almost like they were using Bellinger like Durham Smythe for the Dolphins, and then they would bring Tanner Hudson in to be used like Mike Gesicki. So that's what was holding Bellinger back. If I want to say that, because dude, Hudson hasn't done anything despite those snaps. I would hope that Bellinger keeps that role after this week, but who knows? But just keep that in the back of your mind, that if you're wondering what's going on with Daniel Bellinger, if he's not doing anything next week, it could be because this Tanner Hudson guy, they like him for some reason. So there you go. Just had to add that in there. Get well soon, Tanner, and stay on the bench.
Man, we got a bunch of happy birthdays in the chat for Scott Fish as well. Mel Dance and happy birthday, Scott. Jolly Rancher with the happy birthday for Mr. Scott Fish, and Better Boss Matt in the chat with a happy birthday for Scott as well.
Nice. The GOAT.
The GOAT. Coop, you ready for your next poll?
Already.
Here is your next poll. The next poll is: enjoying craft beer is side A, normal, side B, hipster, or side C, neither. What percentage of people said that enjoying craft beer is normal?
Wow, dude. Who asked this account? Is this a sports related account?
This is from Tim Anderson 87. And if you give me one moment, I can give you a little bit more information about who Tim Anderson is.
Social Security.
Tim Anderson is a tribune of the people, maven of the internet, social media cognoscenti, Twitter bon vivant.
Okay, so he's a hipster himself, and he asked this question.
Bump?
I think everything right there points to hipster.
Bump?
So he lives. This guy lives in Portland for sure. There's no.
He
question.
is Fred Armisen.
Yeah. Okay.
He's from Canada, is what I'm gathering.
Vancouver. Awesome. So, okay. I think enjoying craft beer. I think people are going to side with. Normal. But hipster's the funny answer, and Twitter always goes with the funny answer. I don't know who would pick other. I'm going to say that 54% of people say that it's normal to drink craft beer.
54%. Final answer?
Final. Lock it in.
Coop locking
Stack
in
it up.
54%. JL, do you think the actual percentage of people that said normal for drinking craft beer is over or under 54%?
I'm gonna go with over.
JL going with over, taking the
This guy's
over
a
on that
maven
one.
of the internet. He's a hipster. They love craft beer.
Tommy in the chat guessing 65%, but on the hipster side. So he's going with 35% on the normal side. Guys, if you're watching this, you want to play along, throw your answers in the chat or hit that call in button and come up on air with us and play some poll perception with us. Reminder what we're doing here. Coop just set the line. He was guessing what the actual percentage was. JL's guessing over under. They're going to score points accordingly. Coop, you guessed 54%. The actual percentage of people that said it was normal was 52%. 52%. Great guess, Coop,
Very
on that one.
nice.
You're within 5. Going to give you 5 more points, bringing you to 7. And JL, unfortunately, you were wrong on the over. Going to leave you at 0 points. 7-0 right now.
I'm a glass half full kind of guy, Simon.
Well,
But this glass is empty.
I was going to say this glass is empty though. There's
a
nothing
glass of craft beer.
Yeah, there you go.
How do you guys feel?
Yeah.
If you show up at a
Kinda.
bar, are you ordering a craft beer or are you ordering a Beelzebub? Like you sit down for dinner,
Beelzebub.
you're at Yard House. You're at a place with all sorts of stuff on tap.
Yard House.
Are
I
you
love
grabbing-
Yard House.
I know you love Yard House. That's why I threw it out there. I knew you could
All
relate.
of my Yard House memories are with you. So
in
it makes
Vegas.
sense. Yeah, at one specific Yard House.
The Yard House by the Link in Vegas. If you're ever in Vegas looking for me in JL, that's probably where we are.
That's where we'll be.
Forget the
eating grilled cheese
casinos,
and
forget the
tomato
sports
soup.
book. We're not at Circa. We're not watching the Raiders play. We are eating
We're
at
happy
Yard
to be
House.
sitting, not standing. It's me, right? I go.
For,
We already
for beer
guessed.
choice.
Uh,
My beer choice, like my choice of
52%.
beer, is entirely
This
situation
whole round's
dependent.
over, JL. The round's over. The points have been awarded. We're just talking about beer now.
99% craft beer. My beer choice is very situation dependent. Like if I'm going to if I starting to drink anytime early in the day, I go with Bud Lights because you can't just be crushing like 7% beers all day. That's a dangerous game. So, but if I'm going to sit down at a nice dinner or whatever, I'm not going to get a Bud Light. If here's another situation. If I go to, let's say I go to a sports game and all the beers are like $12, then I'm going to get the craft beer because you get more bang for your buck. It's, if it's like $10 for Bud Light, 11 for craft beer, give me the craft beer. So there's a little math that goes into it. There's a little situational awareness you got to have when it comes to beer choice, but that's the way I go. I don't know.
You know what sporting
how do you
event I went to
handle it?
You know what sporting event I went to with the most reasonably priced like food and drink? It was the Masters. When I was at the Masters, someone hooked me up with a ticket, but once you get in there, like the food and drink is cheap as hell. The sandwiches are like $1 or $2, and then beer is $4 and comes with a Masters cup. Like instead of sitting at a baseball game spending $18 on a Michelob Light or Michelob Ultra, you get a $4 beer and a souvenir cup. Like shout out Masters. That was pretty awesome. But I'm with you, Coop. If it's hot outside and I'm outside, like it's situation dependent. If I'm on the beach, throw me a PBR, a Bud Light, a Rolling Rock. But if I'm sitting down at dinner or in my living room having a beer, I want like a nice craft sour is what I'm going for.
Ooh,
Craft sour. Are all sours craft?
Yeah,
Beers?
yeah. I'll go ahead and say yes.
I'll say yes too.
Maybe. I'm not sure. Joe, what about you?
About the craft beer?
Yeah.
I as Dr. Microanalysis knows, is Maria's dad and big beer guy, but I'm not deep into the beer game. Like I don't like the real funky tasting ones. I'm a good like solid lighter
Summer
beer
shandy.
type of guy. Yeah, summer shandy type style. Like I'm good with that. So I typically am not going to spend like $74 for a craft beer at a restaurant. Sometimes I don't even get beer. Sometimes I just drink soda.
Which is nice.
Sometimes I
Take
go to
that.
a restaurant and I take a tour of the cocktail menu. That's why, like, whenever you go to a place that has all these fun drinks on the menu, just start working your way
Fun to
down the
window shop.
list, right? Like, just like, I'll have this one, and then I'll have this one, and like they all have funny names. Like,
Yeah,
that's
the
the
absinthe
best.
Ruth. What the heck?
No, that's
Kind of want it.
to your point, JL. Like being an adult, like drinking like beers and mixed drinks and stuff all the time. When you do actually sit down and have a Coca-Cola, it tastes so good. You're like, what is this delicious
Yeah.
elixir here? Why doesn't it taste like poison like all the other stuff I've been drinking lately? You know what I mean? Like it's something about just having
Right,
a Coca-Cola with like lunch or like a burger is not. It's nice.
Yeah, for me, it's like ginger ale, nice, refreshing ginger ale. But I like noticed that all I have like a reflex to just buy a drink when I go out, even though like I know I'm only gonna have like one, and it's gonna cost way more money. I'm not gonna like feel anything for it. Like I'm not drinking it for anything other than just like because socially it's fun to have a drink in your hand.
There's a bar or a restaurant in San Antonio called Hot Joy, and it's like this super cool Chinese American fusion restaurant where they do cool things. And it's a tiki bar themed Chinese American restaurant, and so they have sick drinks. And then on the menu they have something called Captain's Choice, and it's $3 cheaper than all the other specialty cocktails. You just don't get to choose what you get. And I have like you put that on the menu, I order it every time. Like every single time. I'm like, this is exciting. And sometimes the drink comes out and it's terrible, but the bartenders have fun with it. They'll put stuff in front of you that's not on the menu, this crazy stuff in big cups. Like they're excited to see if you like what you put in front of you. It's a cheaper drink, and like I don't think enough people order it, so they get hyped. And if you say like surprise and it's cheaper, like that's a double win. There's nothing negative about that experience for me.
If JL was there, he wouldn't be susceptible to the pressures of society and the pressures of these fancy drinks. He would just get a Diet Coke.
Dude, I would have gotten a ginger ale and some French fries. I would have been so happy.
Shut it down.
Keith in here letting us know he drinks craft beer only with breakfast or when he's producing this show. Otherwise, it's Bud Light. Yeah, he needs
high AF.
He needs those 8%ers to get through this show. Is what he needs.
So much more than just a breakfast drink. Beer.
So much more. JL, you ready for your next poll?
Yeah.
The score's 7-0. So you got some ground to make up.
Explaining to do.
This poll comes from Man Who Has It All. Man Who Has It All. The question is, dads, what are you dressing up as this Halloween? Side A, sexy skeleton. Side B, sexy bat. Side C, sexy wizard. Or side D, sexy ghost. What percentage of dads said they were dressing up as a sexy skeleton for Halloween this year?
Not a single one of these is going to end up being sexy. What was the second one? A sexy bag?
Bat.
Sexy bat. Like a flying bat?
I mean,
it's Halloween, bro.
Yeah, it's Halloween.
No, it's like
okay, I'm ridiculous for being surprised by a sexy bat. Yeah.
This is a classic jail move to be like, oh, I'm supposed to assume bat on Halloween and not a baseball bat.
How about this little sexy janitor outfit, huh?
But that would be such a dad move.
Sexy avocado.
That would be such a dad move.
Sexy post office.
It's to dress up as like a bat that has like an Aaron Judge autograph on it, and he's like, I'm a spooky bat. I'm a spooky bat for all the opposing pitchers. And they're like, okay, dad. Okay, dad.
The first time. And that made me laugh. I'm like, what is this? What does the sexy back look like? I don't know.
You have to check with Justin Timberlake, dude, because apparently
I'm just going to assume he brought this is a sexy baseball bat. He did for so many years.
He brought sexy.
There were 4 options, right?
Yes. Skeleton, bat, wizard, ghost, all sexy.
I don't know how you make a sexy skeleton.
It's possible.
I don't even know how you make a sexy ghost. Casper's already got that game locked down. I'll go with
you cut an additional hole a little bit below the waist to make it a sexy ghost. You got the eye holes, and then there's a third hole in the ghost costume, I think.
Funniest option is definitely being a dad trying to dress up as a sexy wizard. I think that one might win. Sexy wizard. You just have like you have the robes and stuff, but you have like short shorts, like jorts, like real short jorts, tight jorts. Is that the sexy dad wizard move?
Wait, I have a picture on my phone. I was at a costume shop this weekend, and there was an outfit, and it was a vampire costume, but the guy just had like nice fitting jeans on, like he was like going to the club, right? And the name at the bottom was Very Cool Vampire, is what the costume was called. Like on the bag, that was the name.
$7.99 cool at Walmart.
Very
vampire.
Very cool.
I'll go with 27%.
27% on the sexy skeleton side.
Yeah.
Do you think the actual percentage of people that chose sexy skeleton is over or under Jail's guess of 27%?
Dude, I can't see with those 4 options. I can't see more. I think wizard wins, in my opinion, but I can't see people picking sexy skeleton. So I'm gonna go under. I think it's gonna be under.
Coop taking the under on this one. We had some guesses in the chat. Trenton, double guessing 18% and 14%. We must have convinced them about the skeleton
Way
talk.
to cover your bases,
And
dude.
Dustin with 15%. All dads are going as wizards because they have beards. So he's with you on the wizard side over there.
I just Googled sexy bat, and there's not a single man through 6 pages of Google image results. There's
Yeah,
not a single guy.
I believe it. I 100% believe it.
So I'm just gonna assume that it's this other costume that these women are wearing. In which case,
What's up with some of
I
these-
stand corrected. Pretty
What's
sexy.
up with some of these bats, dude?
Dad would look pretty sexy in a bat costume.
Because the
Oh,
actual
right.
percentage of people that chose sexy skeleton was 21%, 21% JL. Outside of that 5 percentage points by one, you were 6 percentage points away. So that's going to give you 3 points. Coop correctly picked the under, going to bring him to 9. So the score is 9-3.
I was able
polls.
to scroll far enough that I found the sexy dude bats, and I wish I had not.
Oh, you got to send it to Keith so you can put it up on the screen.
There's one here that is just.
Oh,
a
I
dude
thought you
with
meant
his
send the
shirt off with
costume
wings.
to Keith.
Yeah,
so
buy
that he
that
can wear
costume
it.
and send it to Keith.
Yeah, Keith needs to be a
He says
sexy
he's just
bat.
sitting in the background.
It's not even a
Hi.
costume, dude. It's just good.
He's just wearing his bat costume.
Buying
You
some
can't
like
even see him.
black wings and just taking your shirt off. That seems to be the play.
We should try to individually for the show each come as one of these. Like between the 3 of us and Keith, each one has to wear one of these costumes: sexy skeleton, sexy
We're gonna
ghost.
do dress up, right?
We're gonna do dress up.
We have to.
I'm doing a sexy
We have to
wizard.
do dress up. Goop, you already are a sexy wizard. You're a
Doing
wizard
a
of
sexy
sexy.
baseball bat.
Thanks, bro.
Sexy
Or sexy
baseball bat.
back.
I'm gonna fight you.
We're bringing sexy back as wizards.
God, why'd you have to say those words? That's one of those songs that just like lives in your head. Like it's in my head for the entirety rest of the day. Eric,
One
and you're
more time,
saying I
Dale?
just
Is that how it goes, dude?
That's how it goes.
Pretty good.
I didn't know you wrote that song, Joe.
Dude, we're gonna
You
get
got that on
yo,
lock.
YouTube's gonna copyright.
I didn't
us for
write it.
that.
I
was
just
too
perfected
good.
it.
You sounded just like Timbaland.
I am Timbaland.
Guys, you ready for your last poll?
Nope.
Well, we're going through it anyways. This one, you guys are both going to be guessing a number. Dale, in order to win this game, you have to get this last one exactly right. You need to hit it on the dot.
No
If
problem.
you do that, you will be our champion. Otherwise, Coop's got the win. Here's your final poll. For people who have watched it already, do you find Halloween Ends scary? This comes from Source Halloween, the Halloween movie source. Side A, yes. Side B, no. Side C, eh. What percentage of people said yes, that they find Halloween Ends, the new Halloween movie, scary? You been keeping up to date on your Halloween movie reviews?
No.
I was going to say, no, I haven't. Thanks for asking the question, Simon. Really appreciate you throwing that out there for us to talk about. Yeah, no problem, guys. I really appreciate you answering the question I threw out there. It works well when we talk and other people respond. Trenton in here says sexy wizard is weird football kicker stats. Sure, absolutely. Without a doubt.
What was the
I
question
agree,
again?
Trenton. Sexy wizard if weird football kicker stats.
Excellent. All right, I'm ready.
Yeah, excellent.
Yes. Side A was yes, right?
Side A was yes, side B was no, and side C was eh. What are you guys thinking? You got your answers written down?
Ugliest number I've ever written in my life.
I was
That's
too busy.
rude,
ready.
Jay.
I was too
What
busy
a
drawing
rude thing to
this.
say about that
I was
number.
too busy drawing this sexy wizard. Oh, I can't get it to show up because my camera's.
Oh, so sexy.
I have to tweet it.
It's
then.
so sexy. There's
All
a
I see is FF.
He also said,
wow,
50%.
he's so sexy. 50% from Coop. What are you going with, JL?
13.
13% from JL. Well, the actual percentage of people that said yes, it is scary, was 20%. JL, you get the points, but not the victory, making this super close to score 8-9. But Coop, you are still our winner by
Nice
1
win,
point
Coop.
in this matchup. Nice job, Coop.
I'm back.
And JL, you got Dustin in here saying he wants to see you as a sexy bag.
Oh, I bet you would.
That's a Scott Fish costume as a sexy bag. That dude loves some bag talk.
Loves him some bags.
How funny would it be to just get like a big duffel bag or a suitcase and like cut a head
massive
hole, like get like a big suitcase with like wheels on it and just cut head hole, arm holes, and leg holes and just walk around wearing.
That's so funny. I was imagining like a giant duffel bag, but they're wearing it almost like a car train, like around them, like a little car costume. But the duffel bag just covered, like they're shirtless, but they have little leg holes in the bottom of the duffel bag.
I imagine and the thing is, like, if you wear the suitcase like this, zipper in the front for sure. It doesn't impede the zipper. You unzip it, you gotta go naked underneath. Otherwise, you're gonna bail on the costume at some point. Know what I mean? Like,
so we're doing this for the next FSGA, right?
Yeah, we're showing up in bags, in suitcases.
I'll wear one. You wear the
sexy suitcase.
You wear the duffel bag train.
Chat. What would be the hardest costume to make sexy? I want to see what
Not
they got.
zombie. I feel like you could do zombie pretty well.
Zombie be easy, dude. For sure.
The hardest.
You can make anything sexy. I've learned today.
I can make anything sexy. I know that.
Sexy pigeon.
Sexy Dolores
That would be
Umbridge.
tough. That might be
Sexy
tough.
pigeon.
You know what? No, a pigeon could have some appeal. Know what I mean? A pigeon could puff its chest up and look kind of hot walking around out there. Tommy with the answer. Donald Trump. Yeah, that's pretty hard to make sexy. That's not going to work so well. Kirk Cousins. Yeah, JL, can you do a sexy Kirk Cousins?
Oh God, no! Can you imagine him sexy talking?
Sexy Grimace.
No.
I actually already found it.
Actually, I can. He's done it on the football field, JL. He said, "Oh, you like that?" Like we've already seen Kirk Cousins try to sexy talk.
True.
We know that's his one line. Trenton said pig. No,
pig, dude.
That reminds me of a funny story. One time freshman year, I was at a Halloween party and this girl came up to me, and I had a girlfriend at the time who was at a different school, was out of town, out of the party. This girl comes up to me and she like is dressed up as something. I'm a little bit inebriated and she goes, "Do you know what I'm dressed up as?" And all I could think of was pig, but I didn't want to tell her that she looked like a pig, like to her face. She was like, "Do you know what I'm dressed up as?" And I was like,
couldn't help yourself. You said it,
I was like, I said, pig. Well, your costume looks like a pig, but you don't look like a pig. And she just looks at me and goes, "I'm a hippo," and walks away. After I
because that's that much better.
Way better, dude. Yo, can you pull up that sexy JL baseball bat costume that was just up there? I think
Tommy said producer
that was just
Keith.
up there.
A sexy producer
cheese stick. No, that's
absolutely
a string cheese.
Swole.
I think that's supposed to be JL as a sexy bat. Pretty good.
Like how you made me a wooden bat, Keith.
You look like
Trying to say
Stickly. Oh, you got to go wooden.
Absolutely.
This is the major.
I think it's a cheese stick. I like you better as a cheese stick, JL.
Cheese stick.
A sexy string of cheese.
Yeah, you could definitely do a sexy cheese stick costume. Not a doubt in my mind.
Sexy glizzy.
Guys, coming up, we're going to keep talking the sexiest Halloween costumes Coop, JL, and I could wear this year. And also, we're going to do some NFL rankings. And then Tyler Dragon is joining the show a little bit later today as well. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Better Sports Network.
I gotta tell this story, okay? So we're out in Canton, Ohio, and we decide to go eat late at night, like after midnight. We decide to go to the Waffle House. Somehow, Fensty's never been there, even though he lives near it. I'm in New York, New Jersey. There's no Waffle House close by. So if you go to the Waffle House, what are you going to eat more than likely? Pancakes, waffles, eggs, and all that, right? So, of course, our guy Rich, he gets breakfast. I get breakfast. Fensty doesn't. He's never been to a Waffle House. How do you not have waffles? Like, it makes no sense.
Dude, there's a time for waffles.
Eat breakfast at midnight. Come on, man.
That's the thing. I didn't want breakfast, man. I got like, what was it, like a cheesesteak sandwich or something like that?
That's like someone who has never been to IHOP going there and ordering a burger. Who does that?
That I wouldn't do. That I would not.
That's
well, first
the
of all,
equivalent of what you did. Well, I don't even know what you had.
I got this steak sandwich, which was
steak
excellent,
sandwich at the Waffle House. Never been there, and that's what you get. You're an odd guy, man. You're an
I'm not an odd guy.
Yes, you are. Can we get a vote? Can we get a vote in the chat, please? I mean, if you've never been to Waffle House and you get a steak wrap, something's wrong with you, right? Don't you have to get waffles and eggs? and bacon and all that. It's the Waffle House.
Yeah, I hear you, man. It was my first time, okay? Ordering the hash browns was already complicated enough. Smothered and covered, and it's almost like it's crazy how much combinations you can have. And I know that everybody's killing me for it right now. And no, to our producers, I don't get pasta at a steakhouse or anything like that. No,
Alfredo, that's what he gets at the
Bro,
steakhouse.
do you follow me on Instagram? I'm always on that grill. You know how much I love steak. Why would I go to a steakhouse and get pasta?
Because you go to Waffle House to get steak wraps. That's why.
I didn't know it was all waffles, bro. I thought it had like a little bit of everything. That's why. You know, I didn't realize they were famous for the waffles. Hey, look. You know,
the name of the place is the Waffle House. What else would they be famous for?
You know what? That's fine. I guess it's a hot take getting a steak sandwich. As long as it was good, I housed that thing in 10 seconds.
Okay, you were never there, and that's the first time. You're not going to try a waffle? Do you admit it was a mistake?
I don't really like waffles.
Call, chat, enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Better Sports Network.
Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We were just talking sexy baseball bats, and JL, Tommy thinks you need to get a Rawlings tattoo. Just like, I'm imagining vertical straight up the belly. You down to do that?
I'm down to do that.
Just imagine if JL actually got all the bad tattoos we've suggested on this show, because he wouldn't even have any space left.
I wouldn't. I'd be filled up.
There's been quite a few. I mean,
piece
you'd
of
have
scrap
like
paper.
You'd have like 10 different tramp stamps already.
Yeah, just no cohesion at all. Just like oddly placed.
My biggest flaw is when someone says you should get this tattoo, my thought is, yeah, I should. Know what I mean? It's not like, no, I wouldn't. It's like, yeah, that's really funny. I should put it on my body forever. Like
Thanks,
my
water's wet.
my impulse control with tattoos is very low. I love them, and I think it's fun to put them on your body. Makes my mom really happy. Trenton also over here saying he thought that cheesesteak with JL's face on it was Aaron Judge. Pretty close. Almost the same person.
I've gotten that before.
You've gotten that? You look like Aaron Judge? Or just when you dressed up as a sexy baseball bat?
Yeah, only when I'm wearing my cheese stick costume.
I could see it, dude.
Scott Fish in here has a question for us before we get into our next topic. Scott said, guys, Ian is at school now. I have an issue. So Ian's not here. Now we can
He's waiting for him to leave. He's like watching from the window, starting to get on the bus.
He said, I need a tight end in Scott Fishbowl 12. Dulcich is available. Ian bid the exact amount I was going to. I know his amount. They're in the same league. What does he do? So
That's
Scott
brutal.
Fish's son bid on a tight end that Scott also needs, and he knows how much his son bid. JL, what are you doing in this situation?
I have faced this situation before. I've forced Maria to play in many leagues with me, and I help her, you know, if she needs help. And so I faced this dilemma. The right answer, Scott, is don't put him in.
No,
because you have privileged information here.
Let me ask you a question, Scott.
But
let me ask you a question, Scott. Whose birthday is it? Whose birthday is it, my dude? Waivers run today.
I take back everything I said. Don't listen to any of it.
Yeah, give yourself a special treat, man. It's your day. It's your day.
Yes, absolutely. Do go $1 over his bid.
I bid the same amount and let
crush him.
Do you know the tiebreakers? I just maybe bid the same
Yeah,
amount and let the Lord sort it out.
Let the tiebreakers that you could figure out.
Bid the same
sort it out.
Bid the same amount and let the powers that be, the football gods, figure it out.
If you go first, of course.
I didn't hear what you guys said. I cut out for a second there. So I don't know what you said, but I'm on the.
I said
it's time for a lesson. It's time for a lesson.
It's time for a lesson.
I asked Scott Fish, I said, whose birthday is it? That was mine.
I know it's gonna be a rough one. It's gonna hurt, but I think you gotta it's time for that lesson. You're competing against each other. Like, he is your competitor now. You want to support him, but he also is playing against you, and that's part of the game. If I told JL how much I was bidding on some of these players in our leagues together, I know for sure you would have like absolute joy in just going $1 over what I told you. Like you would
for sure, because you don't have
and take it from
yeah. It's definitely a little different too. Just I would do
Because
that.
you're not my daddy.
Do that. Yeah, that's what we do. That's how we show love.
Yeah, I think it's time to show some love that way. That's my answer, Scott. Take Dulcich and then proudly march him out there.
Dustin said, if Ian told you his bid, it's fair game to outbid him. If you know, because if commission powers, then you can't outbid him. I think he came in and asked about it. So that is a good point. That could be a good learning point for Ian, that, he should have recognized that you were there.
Keep your friends close and keep your dad closer.
Yeah. If you don't wreck him, at least point it out to him for next time.
Here's where
you know, this time, go for the next time.
But does Scott really make his team worse in order to like just teach it?
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, maybe that's the move. Maybe that's the move. I don't have children, so I don't know. My answer is, but I don't have kids, so that's not a real thing.
Ian,
can you get new ones?
Ian also had a rough weekend with the Melvin Gordon getting benched and all. He lost because Melvin Gordon got benched. It's maybe one lesson at a time. Maybe we let him off.
I love watching Ian's love for this game bloom. It's like truly the best part of the season so far.
But there's got to be the pain too. Otherwise, you don't really get into fantasy football. Know what I mean? Like you need those experiences as well. You need the highs and the lows. You need your dad to outbid you by $1 for the tight end that you needed on your team. Like you got to have that experience where you're just like, no!
He'll never forget if you do that. He'll never forget it.
He'll bring it up the rest of your life. The rest of your life, he's going to be bringing that one up. Guys, I wanted to talk some trade values right now. I don't know if Alex is going to be able to join us today, but on Wednesdays, we're always pulling up the trade value charts from our friend Peaked in High School. So I'm going to go ahead and get those pulled up. For those of you that have never used these trade value charts before, one, make sure you go to Alex on Twitter. He's at Peaked in High School FF or Peaked in HS_FF on Twitter. He puts out trade value charts every week, which aggregate a bunch of different rankings from different sources, trades going down, and puts out what the public's perception is on the value of these players. If you're trying to put a trade together, it's the best place to start. It is a beautiful place to start and start enjoying the trades that you're going to get done after this. It makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, you can think of these as like market values, right? Not necessarily. There's nuance here. There's a lot of people use trade calculators thinking like this is rankings, right? This is the players. This is what we can expect the player is going to return over time. And that's not what Alex is doing here. He's trying to capture or measure what the market feels. So use them in that way.
Absolutely. I'm going to pull up a link to these that we can throw in the YouTube chat.
Yeah,
and we'll get a link over there in the BSN chat as well. It's in YouTube now. If you go there, this is to his Twitter account. You can just click on that link. It'll take you to his Twitter. Hit that follow button while you're there, and then check out these charts as well. Once we get in there. Pulling these up, is there anything that immediately jumps out at you as giant risers in this chart? Because there's one player that's just screaming at me. He went up 12.5 points last week, another 17 points in the chart this week. And that's Kenneth Walker jumping up into tier 4, ahead of guys like Damian Pierce, Najee Harris, Miles Sanders, and right below Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Breece Hall in value.
Did we not say it? I mean, I guess it's not like a hot take, but that was what we were talking about with Kenneth. When Kenneth Walker going to take over for Rashad Penny, we were like, this doesn't happen. You don't have guys like this who can ascend to this value throughout the season. It's rare. So
Kenneth Walker this year, especially if you're in a new league, he creates a great test, great litmus test. And it's something I used to refer to it as the Alexander Madison test, which is if you look at your league and if Alexander Madison is rostered in that league from year to year, so like every year he gets drafted, then in that league, I'm willing to use my waiver claims and my fab on lesser players early on. I'm willing to go out there and be like, okay, I'm going to go out and get this guy because there's not really the big one coming. Like if Kenneth Walker was rostered this entire time in your league, at what point is there going to be a guy that's worth 100 fab in your format, right? On the flip side, if guys like Kenneth Walker or Alexander Madison are sitting on the wire, and if the starting running back gets hurt, those are the leagues where I do hold on to the top claim, or I do hold on to $100 because the big one could come along. So it's good to have these guys so that you can look at your format and be like, okay, what am I waiting for? Right. So Alexander Madison's always been the baseline, but this year, go look at your leagues. Because in mine, Kenneth Walker was available in a couple, he wasn't available in some other ones. So it's a good test for you for next year to know whether you need to use your fab early on in the season or whether you should save it for like the big guy, you guys get what I'm
Big
saying
one.
with
You
that?
keep saying big one, and
He
yeah.
just got stuck on big one.
I like that.
But it's, you know, it helps you figure
That's all
out,
I could
you
eat.
know, yeah,
You
because
waiting
it's
for
like
the big one.
in too many leagues I'm in, I sit there with 100 fab and I'm not adding guys like Romeo Dubs and Taekwon Thornton, but there's never going to be a guy that just changes the entire landscape. I'm just holding out to $100 for no reason.
Yeah.
You know?
No, you're like, the way you're thinking about that strategy, I feel like most fantasy managers don't, right? They don't even consider that. It's very myopic. So the way you're thinking about it, where it's like, look at your league mates, see what their patterns are, what their behaviors are, and then use that to adjust your own strategy is truly what separates the good or, you know, great from just the average player, in my opinion.
Not every league's the same. In some leagues, there are league winners out there on waivers that are one injury away. And in other leagues, people are holding those guys. Kenneth Walker was drafted. Alexander Madison was drafted. You know, Tony Pollard, Melvin Gordon, like all the injuries that could have changed things for people, those guys are all rostered. So, you know, check your league, see if your league's that kind of league or not. And if all those guys are rostered, just throw that fab around like crazy early in the season, trying to hit on, you know, whatever the hot commodity is.
Absolutely. Sorry, I missed what you guys were talking about right there. But Coop, I imagine still the Alexander Madison effect. You were saying,
yeah, that's what we were.
Okay.
We were just delving a little more into that. You know, just see it, because I mean, in some leagues there aren't even any good handcuffs out there. So who cares? Just spend the fab. Get the guys while you can.
If you've got Kenneth Walker on your team now, are you like, with his value this high, do you think this is an appropriate response? Like, this is where he should be valued, or are you trying to trade him while his values maybe sky high? Because he's near the guys like Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Breece Hall in value. Like,
So like, is there going to be correction essentially?
Exactly.
Will we see a market correction on Kenneth Walker? It's possible. I mean, anytime you see a shift this big or this significant in this short amount of time, you got to look at it. Now, Kenneth Walker, we can kind of reason this out, right? Rashad Penny got injured. I think JJ Zachariason was talking a lot about this last week, but like, you know, Kenneth Walker doesn't have to deal with Rashad Penny, right? So now he's all of a sudden in a better situation than Rashad Penny was in. So that's going to account for a major part of this jump. And what you're asking, Simon, is what I think is the important question here, which is, is it going too far, and how far is that, right? Like, how far should it be?
Absolutely. Well, we've got an expert about to join us right now, able to join the show. We've got Alex jumping on with us, the creator of these charts, aka Peaked in High School. You can find him on Twitter at PeakedInHS_FF. He's a contributor for The Athletic and 4for4, and we like to call him Trade Daddy. Trade Daddy, welcome to the show.
FYF family.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Baby, I got your money, don't you worry.
Alex, we were just talking about the giant jump Kenneth Walker took after a giant jump last week. If I remember correctly, he went up 12.5 last week, and then another 17.5 points up this week. And the question we had is, maybe Alex, you can provide some light on this. You're looking at these charts probably more than anyone every single week. When you see a jump that big, is your first thought, I need to capitalize on this value, there's going to be a correction back? Is your first thought like, I hit the jackpot, I got to keep this guy on my team?
So the first thing I want to do is I just want to check to make sure that it makes sense, this jump, right? Like, was he getting the work? Was he being involved? Did he pass the eye test, right? Like, that's step one. So if he didn't, like if it was CEH who scored 2 touchdowns and was splitting the backfield with those 2 other guys, McKinnon and Pacheco, and then he flew up like this, I think that's a sell. But Ken Walker just looked good, right? Like he was just, I mean, he just looked good, and they're using him and there's no one behind him. So it makes me not necessarily want to sell high, because I mean, he could still go higher, right? Like, he's just getting the work. He's not competing with Rashad Penny anymore. DJ Dallas wasn't on the field. Like, he was just getting it all.
Yeah. He can perform similarly to these guys for the rest of the season. He can perform similarly to the rest of these guys. That's absolutely within his range of outcomes. It might even be the most likely outcome, but yeah, I think you're right. Maybe what we're seeing here is like Kenneth Walker. There's like a normal distribution around Kenneth Walker where, like, you know, we're going to see some variance among it, but you're right, Alex. Like, everything's pointing to him being able to do that. The opportunity's there.
In looking at these and looking at the values on this chart, at first I thought that Kenneth Walker got moved up too high, but then I just realized that Josh Jacobs is way too low.
Yeah.
Like, Josh Jacobs is what? You cut out for a second.
Josh Jacobs is way too low. Like, for me, I don't see why he should be top 5. Like, he's playing like every snap, back-to-back 140 plus yards. He's gotten 5 targets in every single game. He's already had his bye week. So he doesn't have another bye week. Like, I don't know if the chart factors that in, but like Josh Jacobs at his value on this chart, I think he needs to be much higher. And if you move Josh
Why
Jacobs
is
up,
Aaron Jones ahead of Josh Jacobs?
what
Like,
I'm
why
saying.
is Aaron Jones ahead of Josh Jacobs? That's bizarre.
Alex,
If you
I've
get
told
Josh
you this
Jacobs-
before, but this is where like if we could be able to see Josh Jacobs' change in value over like the last 3 weeks, it'd be crazy valuable.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah,
like because I'm curious. Like if he just went up 2, that's not a big change. Has he always been this low?
So he was way lower. He was in tier 5 because people were like, Josh
In the
Jacobs is
beginning of the
dead. Yeah, at the beginning of the season, he played in the Hall of Fame game. Like White behind him is better than like. I mean, he was low, and that's why I have him in our FYF league. Is because you guys hated him. Looking at YouTube,
I love Josh
and I
Jacobs.
auto drafted.
No, you auto drafted and you got Lockett or something instead, like which worked out. Yeah, but yeah, he's low. He was the big. So I just my 4for4 article, the Trader Alley just posted. I don't know, 20 minutes ago. Josh Jacobs was the biggest buy because he was the market deficiency. He's undervalued. You're right. And I even highlighted those exact points. He's a bell cow. A good offense. Like I mean, they're fine. Like they're middle, right? Like they're not bad. He's way undervalued, and he's well above Aaron Jones on the 4for4 trade chart.
Yeah, this is making me realize like any leagues where I don't have Josh Jacobs, but I guess I'm not getting them from you in that one league, Alex, that we're in together. But any leagues where I don't, I'm going out and trying to trade for Josh Jacobs if this is how he's being viewed.
Yeah, I tried to send him for Mark Andrews to J Wall, and J Wall thought I had slapped him in the face. I'm like,
He's unreasonable.
Yeah, but so that's fine. We will quit talking about our league because no one cares.
Eric in the chat saying, "Help me, trade daddy. Help me." PPR Dynasty, Austin Eckler, Terry McLaurin, Calvin Ridley for Alvin Kamara, Jalen Waddle, or Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell.
This one's more complex than I thought it was going to be. So it was tight end premium, right? Is what they said?
No, PPR Dynasty.
PPR. Okay, PPR. And what was the trade again?
It was Austin Eckler, Terry McLaurin, Calvin Ridley for Alvin Kamara, Jalen Waddle, and Elijah Mitchell.
What are you thinking, Trade Daddy? This one is a little bit complex.
So where's Eckler at? Eckler's still tier 1, so he's like 68.
Yeah.
Eric, why don't you take that complicated dynasty trade? Call back at 3:00. Ask for Nando Fino.
Yeah.
I like to think that everybody's coming back into Nando's show and being like, "Yes, can I please speak to Nando?"
And
delivering their annoying questions.
Yeah, but you should call in with video if you have a difficult question. That is the thing about a difficult trade question. Like to us, it's a difficult question, but in reality, that just means it's a fair trade. Which the best trades possible are fair trades that help both teams.
Yes.
Yeah. So
and they have to have a driving force, right? Are you getting younger? Are you trading 2 players for 1? Like, what's the goal? So, like in this one, it looks like Eckler and Kamara are similar, right? Like they're about the same age, both on offenses, both getting similar work. Kamara's going to probably suspended next year. McLaurin and Waddle, we would rather have Waddle. And then it was Eli Mitchell versus what was the third one?
Calvin Ridley. Which is tricky. Like, I don't know where Ridley is on this. He's not on the chart. This is redraft we're looking at, but I don't even know. I don't know how. I don't think he has much dynasty value.
He's about a mid-second last I saw on the trade value chart.
That seems high for me.
He's an older prospect too, which doesn't help his case.
I think he's 27 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, he came into the league on the older side, but he'll still be in his prime. If he's been staying in shape and ready to go, like he'll still be at the age apex for wide receivers, but he needs to produce right away to be worth it for you. I mean, I traded a second for him in a league that I'm in.
He's not coming back to Atlanta, right? Like, there's no way.
No. Dio Ledbetter laughed. Remember we asked Dio Ledbetter? He just laughed. He didn't even say.
Yeah. There's no way.
Well, they had a trade like agreed on to go to the Eagles, right? And then he got suspended.
Oh yeah, and then that news dropped.
Yeah.
Somebody will give him a chance.
Yeah, he's good. I mean, he still is a good player as long as he's staying in shape. I mean, I would probably want to be on the Kamara, Waddle, and Eli Mitchell side, just because. But either side's really fine. Like, yeah.
It's such a weird trade because the guy getting Kamara could get. So the idea, I think the idea here is that the person trading for Ridley is probably not in a position to win this year. So you're maybe trying to push assets forward to next year, and you think Kamara might get suspended next year. But the person trading for Kamara could get smoked if the Saints keep losing games and decide to shut Kamara down this year. Like things could go pretty badly for them, you know. So I don't know. This is a pretty fair trade in my opinion. If I was playing to win this year, I'd want the Kamara, Waddle, Eli Mitchell.
Yeah, for sure. But then if I'm rebuilding, I don't really necessarily want the Eckler side because he'll be.
I know it's such
like
a
I would want to turn around and be able to move him right after that for picks. That would be my goal. If that, and that really, that's where it comes down to how active is your league. Is that something that you can do? Some dynasty leagues like aren't going to touch Eckler because he's 27, and that means he's basically dead. Sadly, even though he is a great player and still very valuable.
It's true though. It's true.
Yeah.
It
Some other
probably,
players on the trade value chart that have lost significant value: Joe Mixon 10.5 points, Jamar Chase 5.5 from last week to this week, AJ Brown 5 points, Mike Williams lost 5. Jeff Wilson lost 8.5. I think that's all the ones that were like 5 or more. So, any of those names surprising to you guys?
I mean, Chase is interesting because he put up his best game of the season and then dropped 5.
Why did he drop 5?
But if you look at his trend for the last 3 weeks, which you guys don't have access to, but I do, he didn't drop. He was not just humble bragging. Well, maybe you should build your own database. I don't know what to tell you, man. But he didn't drop before that. So I think it's actually market lag. I think it was a correction to where he should have been. So he was a sell for me before because I think he was overvalued. And I think he now is where he needs to be. He put up a game that we like, but he was like a top, still like for the longest time, like a top 3 or 4 wide receiver and above a lot of the running backs. And he just wasn't getting the work and the offense wasn't clicking like we thought it was. So like losing 5.5, it looks like a lot, but I think it brings him down to where he should have been in the first place. So that's one that I get a lot of questions about. And maybe some people could ask me about it.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
No, I mean, I think it makes sense. And
They
I'm
come
looking
in
at,
and they're like, what about Taysom Hill?
I've had multiples of those, and I just tag hoop in those and move on.
Is he on the chart
more
yet?
Taysom Hill, dude.
Is Taysom Hill even on here? No, not even on the chart yet. It doesn't matter. No trade
Meat
value.
bonk.
I'm gonna go on the Reddit thread and ask that right now. What about Taysom?
You will not be the first one.
Where in the world is Taysom Hill?
There is this guy. I upvoted the guy that did ask that.
Yeah.
How do you
I say
value Taysom Hill?
Yeah.
You said right where he is on the chart, not on.
Yeah, I was feeling sassy this morning. I'm always feeling sassy. That's just who I am.
Every day.
The Joe Mixon one makes sense to me.
There.
The minus 10.5 for
Joe.
Joe. For Joe Mixon, that makes a ton of sense for me. And the names he's around, Alvin Kamara, Breece Hall, I think that makes sense. This seems like a fair spot for Joe Mixon. I'm not making any crazy moves because of this, but you guys think he's a trade for candidate right now with where he's going around those other names below Alvin Kamara, ahead of Breece Hall, Aaron Jones, in that tier 3 range?
Breece Hall's looking awesome, dude. I would trade.
Would you be looking to move like Joe Mixon for CeeDee Lamb?
Ooh, Joe Mixon for CeeDee Lamb. I think I'd rather have CeeDee Lamb. That would just, I guess, come down to my team. Do I need running back or wide receiver depth?
Yeah, they feel fairly even. I like Mixon, but I'm a known Mixon guy. So
running back, really. Yeah.
Dustin asked him, what should we do with Dobbins and Drake?
Cry.
Big cry.
Yeah.
How did you get yourself into such a?
I bet you're wondering how I got here.
How did I get here?
Frankie Muniz, worth wall break there for you, Simon.
Mm-hmm. I love me some Malcolm in the Middle. That's my childhood right there.
Yeah,
what does the chart have to say about these two guys? Are they dropping?
So Dobbins went down a bunch, and there's definitely a lot of concern about him. Drake, I don't even think Drake cracked the chart, or if he did, he's very low. Let me see. So
I see him on here.
Yeah, we have Gus Bus coming back potentially this week. We don't know. Justice Hill coming back again, and he was running ahead of Drake before he hurt his hamstring, and he might be back this week as well. And then all of a sudden, it's going to be like 4 people, and Mike Davis is still alive, and maybe Dobbins is fine. I'm not really interested in Drake, but I'm pretty concerned about Dobbins. Maybe he won't be right this year, or maybe it'll be several weeks. I mean, you can't start him, right?
I think you can. I mean, he was fine before this past week where he had, where he took himself out of this game or limited himself, which I think is expected. Like where I see him here, which is down in tier 6, 20 points around AJ Dillon, James Robinson, James Conner, Zeke, J.K. Dobbins just has upside on those guys. I do expect him still to be the main guy there when he's healthy. And, I think I said this in the beginning of the season as Dobbins was coming back, is that most likely he's going to continue to deal with this injury in some degree. And also just the way the Ravens offense works, he's not a workhorse guy who's every single game he's going to be super consistent. The Ravens offense just doesn't rely on the running back like that every single game. So I think he's a value, honestly, the way I see it right here with this now looking at his value here.
But dude, you also have to keep in mind they have a 240-pound wrecking ball named Gus Edwards.
Patrick
coming
Ricard.
back.
Oh.
Patrick Ricard. Maine black bear.
Sorry,
Patrick
it's
Ricard
360 pound.
75% of the snaps. Dude. No, but yeah, Gus Edwards.
Gus West is coming back. Yeah.
Harbaugh said he's getting close to returning. He's a big boy, and dude, quietly one of the few backs in the league to have over 5 yards of carry in his career. Like he
just
dude,
falls down and he has 5 yards. Like he's huge.
He's like James Robinson.
He's moving forward all the time.
James Robinson light, Gus Bus.
So you get in the red zone and you have Lamar Jackson and Gus Edwards and then J.K. Dobbins and Kenyon Drake. It could be a little dicey there.
Alex, I want to thank you so much for taking the time and coming on with us today and talking some of these trade charts. Everybody, if you're not already following Alex, go and follow him on Twitter at PeaktonHS_FF and check out his Patreon, Peakton High School. That is school with a K. Subscribe over there. That's where you get all the juicy Trade Daddy materials. It's on his Patreon. Alex, thank you so much, my man. Always a pleasure talking with you.
See you next week.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
see you next week. Guys, coming up, we're going to have Tyler Dragon of USA Today joining the show, talking some NFL football. So stick around. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Live with Rick Kamla. That's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on Better Sports Network.
Andy Reid is the best current coach in the NFL. He's better than Belichick. Belichick has lost his way. He's better than Tomlin. He's better than Harbaugh. He's better than Shanahan. He's better than McCarthy down in Dallas. He's better than all of the gangster NFL coaches right now. Sean McDermott up in Buffalo, he's better than all these guys. Andy Reid is the greatest gangster that we have at head coach in the NFL right now. And I understand that you're saying, well, Belichick is the GOAT, Cam. How can that be true? Now you're bringing up old stuff. Bill Belichick can't draft anymore, okay? Talk to me. Nick Chubb, Sony Michel. Talk to me. DK Metcalf, Debo Samuel versus N'Keal Harry. Okay, talk to me. This dude has lost his way. Remember the year when he should have bottomed out and just tanked, but he couldn't, and he went and got Cam Newton, and they were a mediocre team, right? He's lost his way. And not that he can't coach up a good defense and that kind of thing, but overall, he's lost his way. Andy Reid's an absolute badass. They draft great. He's a great coach. Makes the right decisions, when to go for it, when to kick, when to punt. The guy's the man.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
I hate the stupid unsportsmanlike conduct. As long as you're not disrespectful to the opponent, you should be allowed to celebrate.
How I used to say it, and to bring up, because now basketball starting, I'm going to bring up
Oh, dude, it's even worse than basketball, isn't it?
So Dikembe Mutombo, who used to get teed up in the 2000s, in the 90s, they didn't give a crap. 2000s, though, when they tightened up the rules, they used to tee him up more when he did the Dikembe finger wag. But they wouldn't tee him up if he did it to the crowd instead of looking at, like, Eton Thomas, like one time I remember, and doing it right to him, or when his back was turned, doing it right to him. If he did it to the crowd, they would never call it. And so that makes me wonder if these players, while, yeah, they want to talk a little smack, maybe they should flex towards the crowd than at the player who they're standing over.
I guess.
I know it's soft, man.
It is soft.
Because you know what?
Like we're gonna give 15 yards for that,
bro. They think that, you know, want to know why they're paranoid? They think that's gonna turn into a fight.
See, I disagree with that. That's not going to start a fight.
I agree with you. They don't agree with
It's
us.
one thing, okay, if you spit in someone's face or say something derogatory, like about their family or something,
right.
Yeah, that can incite you. But if you're just like, yeah, I made that play, what? You know what I mean? Like, again, they know the rules. You got to know you're going to get flagged. You have to have discipline. But, like, I don't know. I have no problem with celebration as long as it's not disrespectful.
What's disrespectful? You know,
it's interpretation, and that's my problem. Watch, it's going to cost someone in a big playoff game, and that's when people are going to go crazy. There'll be a third down play. Someone makes a pass breakup, and they're in someone's face. They're going to throw a flag. It'll extend the drive. That team scores, wins the playoff game because of it. You need something drastic for it to really leave an imprint, and I hope that doesn't happen to mine.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We just had Alex Korf, aka Trade Daddy, aka Peakton High School, on with us this week to talk some trade value charts. And he's on with us every Wednesday. So make sure on Wednesdays you're popping in here to get your trade questions answered from the Trade Daddy himself. And follow him on Twitter, PeaktonHS_FF. Good guy.
Great guy.
I like him.
Great guy. Just what a good guy over there. Jails Ma in the chat saying, as always, late to the game. Happy birthday, Scott Fish. Happy
Good
birthday,
morning,
Scott
Ma.
Fish. Also on Fantasy Nav in the chat saying, I just imagine Ridley crushing parlays on his burner during the suspension. If he's suspended, is he now allowed to gamble on the game since he can't play in any of them?
I guess it'd
Nope.
be now. But the thing is,
No.
dude, I also doubt he's crushing parlays because there's been some pretty wacky results in these games. Pretty difficult to predict. If he's crushing parlays, he's probably been putting some weird parlays in.
Yeah.
He
Calvin
might,
really
like,
super sharp.
the Jets and Giants, awesome, just as everyone predicted, right? You know, like all the
Falcons
AFC,
over the 49ers. He had that one.
all the AFC West teams, bad, right? After all the hyping we did. So yeah, I doubt he's even if he's betting, I doubt he's crushing parlays.
As soon as you asked about Calvin Ridley being able to bet, I was in my head as I was answering. I was like, I hope Scott Fish comes in and clarifies because he knows a lot of legal stuff. And he says, nope, still an NFL employee. So there you go.
Yep. That makes sense.
No parlays for him.
That makes a ton of sense. And that's why it's on his burner during the suspension, not on his main account. Wasn't his main account just set up under his name too? Wasn't it just Calvin Ridley
9?
What's his number in the NFL? Was it just his number?
Not Calvin Ridley.
I remember
Totally-
one time
totally
in
not.
middle school, I went over to my friend's house and we logged on to Xbox Live, right? We were playing some Xbox and I look at his username and I was like, dude, is that your address? And in his username, he had his home address as part of his username on Xbox Live. And I was like, you
Zip and
cannot
all?
put your home, not zip, but it
It's
was
the dumbest thing.
it was 3901,
Sorry, you figure out the zip.
and the
You figure out
street
the zip,
name
you
in
don't
there
need it.
as well, right?
I
There's only
said-
so many.
I use it John at 17 Periwinkle Road. That's his username.
And I've brought it up before,
Social
but my
security
favorite.
number.
Jail and I put out a survey a long time ago when we started Front Yard Fantasy for people that were interested in the tools that we were building, right? And we had a spot we would ask first name, last name, email address in the thing. And some people would come in and be like, first name, nice try. Last name, never gonna give it to you, loser. And then email. Jackson Robertson, 1997 at gmail.com. It would give us
And
their
we got
full-
hundreds of people doing this.
Gotcha.
Reddit, it was I think it was a Reddit hive mind. They all have that same mentality. So they're just nope, not trusting you, Jackson Robertson, 34 at
Classic.
AOL.com.
graduating class of 2017 at gmail.com.
At pennstate.edu.
And they would just give us all their personal information and their email address. After being
The
scared to
opposite
even
of
give it
that,
to us.
I used to do back when I would do mortgages, we would buy leads from Lending Tree and people would put in fake names all the time, but we'd still have to call just to see. And so one time I get this lead that's Harry Beach and I called the dude and just waiting for nothing. And the guy picks up and I'm like, hello, Harry? And he's like, yep, this is Harry. What's going on? And I'm like, were you looking for a mortgage?
What's your last
And
name, Harry?
he's like, yep. And I ended up doing a loan for that. I ended up doing a loan for Harry Beach because I bet all
Harry
the other
Beach.
places that got the lead didn't even call. They were just like,
That
this
poor guy.
Nice try.
That poor guy. He calls to make a reservation and
Real
they're
good
like, oh,
dude.
what can I put that under? He's like, Harry Beach. And oh, this again. Hang up. You can
Yeah.
Can you
never.
imagine a Harry,
Harry Beach,
Beach?
great dude. Great guy.
Harry Beach.
Fantastic.
Man,
Is that tall grass, but it's all hair? Or I'm trying to imagine what part of his hair it
Oh, I was just imagining
It's in the
mixed
sand.
in with the sand is hair
Like-
clippings from a haircut place.
Similar food.
It's
It's actually
the
it's actually the name of a nude beach.
Harry Beach.
How about that?
on the
Ironically, you
last
have to be shaved.
on the last family vacation I was on, we went to a beach without knowing that it was a clothing optional beach. We're enjoying our brunch overlooking this beach. Then we get down there and looking around some people don't have their clothes on
Let it
down
ride.
here. Some people, yeah, immediately me and my dad just dropped our drawers on the beach, ready to go. Let's do it.
Ready? Let's
I
go.
just picture Simon sitting at brunch and he's just about to take a bite out of a breakfast sausage and he looks down at the beach and he's just like,
He sees a breakfast sausage.
And then I ate the whole breakfast sausage in one bite. is what happened.
and then he said,
As you meet eyes with the man on the beach.
yeah.
I called the
He
waiter
does.
over. Could you send me another one of those breakfast
please.
sausages?
You know what? I'll take that to go.
Simon goes, yum, yum, yum. Mm, mm.
Yum, yum, yum. Yum, yum, yum. Oh, excuse me. Right there. Scott Fishner with some more info on that said, interestingly, not on this nude beaches, on the Calvin Ridley stuff. Said, interesting, legal contest operators have to track it too. I had an issue with a former player in safe leagues once because it was hitting the list, but he had just retired. And when you bet and play fantasy in legal contests, you have to ID verify. So we know, they're tracking all of it. It's hard to pull one over on them for too long. You might get away with it for a little bit, but especially if your username's Calvin Ridley 9, they're going to catch you at some point.
My username is
you got to get verified.
Pete Rose 3000. Like, gotcha.
Got him.
You get that fake ID just to lose all your money online. That'd be the worst use of a fake ID ever, is to just lose all your money. Like, you go out there and do it. Not that I would ever use a fake ID, but if I had, the best thing I ever did use it for was adopting a dog for my friend. You had to be 21 years old. Neither one of us was. She wanted a dog, like fell in love with this dog at the shelter. And so I
know
used,
which friend you're talking about.
I used my fake ID to adopt this dog for her. It said I was 29 years old and lived in North Carolina. And now she has that dog. Has that dog.
Now she has that dog.
You don't need a fake ID in Providence, so we never really had that problem. You can
just grab a dog.
You hand them a library card.
They just let
like,
you.
here's a dog. They give you a beer and a dog. But in Providence, when I was younger in Providence, the bars would be 18 up, and they would just give you a wristband if you were 21. And let me tell you how many times somebody checked my wristbands. Almost once.
Zero times.
Almost.
I remember
almost
one
once.
time I was so mad in Athens, Georgia, because I kept getting turned down at the bar. Like, they kept turning me away, and I was livid. They had every right to turn me away. I was not 21, but I step away. My friends walk up.
How dare they?
I look down at my hand, and I was holding my debit card. I had been handing them my debit card and not my ID over and over and over again. Just
says right there
that I was
21.
21 years old. Yeah, like I'm 21 years old, and I step
TD
away.
Bank says right there.
Yeah, they were right. I was wrong on that one. Guys, coming up today on the Better Sports Network, we're giving away 2 cool prizes. Today on Moose and Keith at 11 Eastern time. Listen for your chance to win a Walt Clyde Frazier signed New York Knicks white basketball jersey. And don't miss your chance to win a Dennis Rodman signed Chicago Bulls jersey. Let's see, where do we got? The red basketball jersey tonight at 8 Eastern on Better Sports Live with Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla. To be eligible, all you need to do is download the free Better Sports Network app, register for free, and be listening today at 11 a.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Eastern. This is courtesy of gettingthegame.com and Better Sports Network. You must be 18 or over, and winners within the last 90 days are not eligible. Some sick prizes. A Dennis Rodman signed Bulls jersey. That would be sick to add to the collection right there. Absolutely sick. We have some questions in the chat that I know we want to answer. Someone in here saying, I have a wide receiver and a flex spot available, full PPR. Who should I start in each? So ETN, Cooks. So Brandon Cooks, Travis Etienne, Romeo Dobbs, or Wan'Dale Robinson, a wide receiver and a flex. So at least one of these needs to be a wide receiver. It's going to have to be because you gave us 3 wide receivers. So really just pick 2 of these. There's no math you can do to create a bad lineup. ETN, Cooks, Dobbs, Wan'Dale. Where are you going, Coop?
We're picking 3 of these players?
2.
Okay. So I am starting. I'm not starting Wan'Dale Robinson. He only played 15 snaps. I'm a little worried that he could get the Rondale Moore treatment this year, where he's a little too small to be out there blocking, and he just kind of comes in for a few sets. So I'm ruling him out right away. So it's between Etienne, Cooks, and Dobbs for me.
I'm with you on that, Coop.
I can't go away from Romeo Dobbs with his snap share. I think I have to get him in there. And I'll
in the
toss
matchup.
Toss it to you guys for Etienne and Cooks.
Let's say to add on to the Dobbs part, they're playing against Washington, which have been buns at stopping wide receivers. So yeah, Dobbs is definitely the locked in guy. I'd go ETN over Cooks.
ETN over Cooks. I'm going ETN over Cooks as well. It's going to be ETN and Dobbs. Though I like that you have Wan'Dale on your team. Like, that's a great stash. And in coming weeks, if we see his snap share go up, if he's playing more than 14 offensive snaps, I could see Wan'Dale sneaking into this lineup with the other options you have there.
Oh, I didn't see it was PPR. Does that change at all for you guys for Cooks?
Nope. Still ETN for me.
I just hate Cooks all the time. It's just no rhyme or reason to it.
Just not a fan.
Yeah.
We have another question in here. I have Barkley, Hall, Walker, and ETN. Weak at wide receiver 2. Do I trade Kenneth Walker for Pittman or DK? Justin Jefferson is his wide receiver 1. So trade Kenneth Walker for a Michael Pittman or a DK Metcalf. Would you be doing that?
I'll pull up these trade charts, see what.
Oh man,
I think you might be able to get more.
That's what I was. That was my initial thought, but then I wanted to double check. So Kenneth Walker's 36 points, tier 4. This is PPR, I believe I'm looking at. Yeah, PPR, 4-point passing. DK Metcalf is also in tier 4 at 31, so 5 points less than Kenneth Walker now after he shot up. Who was the other one? Was Pittman? Pittman is slightly. He's in the lower part of the tier right above that. So tier 3, his value is 40, which is about 4 more than Kenneth Walker. So that's probably fair. It's probably fair.
I'd be fine doing this for Pittman, but you know who I might be going for? Chris Godwin. I still think the market hasn't corrected on Chris Godwin yet. And like, if you want to upgrade a wide receiver, I think like that's a guy who could finish as a top 7, top 8 wide receiver, points per game rest of the season, right? Like he has that kind of upside. I might see if you could turn Kenneth Walker into Chris Godwin is where I would be going with that. If you want to upgrade your wide receiver too.
Yeah, I would like start by trying to shoot high, right? See what you can get. See if anybody is, just because the hype on Kenneth Walker, like it's a bigger variance, right? So like your league mates are going to be on different, bigger sides of the spectrum there, separate sides of the spectrum.
Maybe shoot it out there for a Jalen Waddle. Like, see if you can get something like that. I don't think you will, but
Amon-Ra St. Brown. If you can
try it.
If I could trade Kenneth Walker for Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is probably a good week to trade him. Not that he's not going to have more big weeks, but the hype is just sky high right now.
It's good.
Fresh in everyone's mind.
So fresh, so high right now. Scott Fish had a question, wants to know, does Coop have any thoughts on Otton? I have Swerve and Irvin and Never Fade the Cade as my backups in the league, but Jahan Dotson and Tyquan Thornton are out there. I have an open spot, but need another. What are your thoughts on Cade Otton?
So for anybody out there that wants my thoughts on every tight end, pretty much, I put my rankings out yesterday, my updated rest of season rankings with notes on everybody. And there's a note on Cade Otton in there where basically what I said is if you have are looking for a 1 week fill-in, especially. So like, let's say you have Dallas Goedert and you trust Dallas Goedert, you're probably going to start him every week, but this week he's on bye week. Cade Otton is a guy you can probably go out and get for free. I doubt people were adding him off waivers. And last time that Cameron Brate was out, he played like every snap. We're talking, he ran 50 routes in that game, which obviously you need to pass a ton to get to that spot, but he played like 74 of 79 snaps, played the entire game. So they like Cade Otton. They clearly trust him. And anytime Cameron Brate's out, which with this neck injury could be more than one game, but I'm willing to throw him in there. I'm definitely going to be playing him in DFS this week. He'll be in the DFS article for sure.
Charles in here would say my league acts like Kenneth Walker is not worth anything. That's fine. Keep rolling with him. Plug him into your starting lineup. Like, it's not a player where you have to get out. Like, that's fine. If they're missing out, then that's cool for you. Good to go.
Ciao.
He's not a must trade player. We had some more questions in here. This one comes from R. Avila. What's up, R. Avila? He says, flex Ayuk or Gallup? I have Debo in play. This is Ayuk. It's got to be Ayuk in my mind. I don't care that you've got Debo in your lineup as well. It doesn't matter. It's Ayuk for me. Are you either of you guys plugging Gallup in? Are you worried about having 2 players from the same team?
No.
Not worried about it. That team, the good thing about that team with the consolidation of targets is that because they use Kyle Juszczyk so much, that alone takes the third wide receiver out of the game. That's why you never really hear about any, but I guess Juwan Jennings might like have a random play every once in a while, but you don't really hear about the third wide receiver on that team because they use a fullback instead. So it's, the 5 linemen, quarterback, tight end, fullback, and then the 2 wide receivers and running back. Beautiful. That's your 11 guys. So it really consolidates the targets at the very top, which is what we like to see.
Absolutely. Brendan wanted to know, should I be selling Curtis Samuel and Christian Kirk? I have great wide receivers now, and they are both a waste. If I were to trade both of them together, what wide receiver should I target in a trade to upgrade? So first, Curtis Samuel and Christian Kirk, are you trying to trade these guys? And if so, what would you be trying to get in return for both of them?
If you could trade both of them to somebody for, obviously the issue you're having with these players is they're inconsistent. Or, Curtis Samuel, he's just like very low ceiling because he's such a low A-dot guy, and the Christian Kirk's been inconsistent. So if you're going to take 2 of those guys and trade them for one, go for somebody that you can trust every week in your lineup, like a CD Lamb, or honestly,
DK.
DK, like anybody that you can put in that you're going to start every single week. Because right now the headache you're probably having is picking between those 2 guys, right? So if that's your goal, then just make sure whoever you get back is somebody that you say to yourself, I'm going to start this guy every single time. Keenan Allen when he's healthy.
That's what I was going to ask. Is Keenan Allen a player coming back from injury you would be willing to trade these two guys for?
Yeah, he's the exact kind of guy that I feel good about. I feel like whenever he's healthy, I'm going to put him in and play him. Every single week now, I've put him in my lineup and then taken him out. Like I plan to play him every week. Like he's in there and then I have to take him out of there. But so right now he's in there. Let's see what happens.
And the trade value charts say that's just about fair. These two guys in a PPR league add up to about 31 value, Kirk and Samuel. And then Keenan Allen is at 28, which generally when you're the one getting the best player in the trade, you do have to take a slight discount on value to get the best player, right? Because depth isn't worth as much as starters. So Keenan Allen was a name that jumped out to me. Maybe you can shoot a little higher, but that's what I'm cool with. I think that's a great move.
I also think these guys will most likely bounce back from where they are from this week, just because they both are coming off of like a string of a couple bad games. But their target shares are still high. Both have on plus side of 20% target share on their offense. Their offenses just aren't great.
We had another question in here. This one from Renton. What's up, Renton? We had one from Rendon. Now this one's from Renton. He says non-PPR, 1 point for first downs. So this is a point for first downs, non-PPR league.
So real football.
Herbert, Mike Williams, Dobbins for Brady, Zeke, and Higgins. So I'm guessing this is Justin Herbert because there's quarterbacks involved on the other side. Yep. So Justin Herbert, Mike Williams, and J.K. Dobbins for Tom Brady, Ezekiel Elliott, and T. Higgins. Which side of this trade do you like?
The first side.
I like the Brady side.
The first side is you like the Brady side?
Disagreement.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, I think the reason being is that we have to factor in the rules of the league, which Zeke Elliott, say what you will about him, he's very consistent in getting first downs. You'll notice that when you look at like the Scott Fish scoring, like he is almost always towards the top of the league in first downs. And a lot of that is because he plays, you know what I mean? Like he played through the PCL and he rarely gets hurt, but he's a pretty big first down guy. They go to him in those short yard situations. So if you're going to be in a standard league that has points for first downs, guys like Higgins and Zeke are fantastic, you know? So I'll take the downgrade at quarterback for what I believe to be an upgrade in this format. But I can see, JL, I want to hear your side. I can see where it's coming from. Like those guys have the upside, but I don't know. I don't know if this is such a weird format for those players, in my opinion.
The more you talked about it, the more I was marinating on it. I can see more of that side. I think I initially was like Brady's just not playing super well, so I see Herbert as a pretty big upgrade. Mike Williams
Herbert's not playing too well either, though. Like Herbert's injured and not playing great too.
But yeah, but that's injury, more injury where I feel like he's still slinging the ball. He's still out there. He just it hasn't really been turning into fantasy points or touchdowns. The other so Herbert over Brady, Mike Williams and T. Higgins are pretty much a wash for me. So then it just comes down to Zeke versus nobody, right?
Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins.
So it's like, which is also kind of washy,
also
right?
a wash. So yeah. So that's kind of why I want that side. I'd rather have Herbert over Tom Brady.
Yeah, it's kind of close to wash, but I do think Zeke pretty consistent with first downs.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not even factoring in the first down part of it. So like
hard to think
your
about
point
that.
there, I'm not disputing that. It could be that could absolutely affect it.
Absolutely. And Trenton just letting us know this was not Dynasty. This was not Dynasty. So we were talking about this.
If it was Dynasty, it would be the Herbert, Mike Williams side all day long.
Oh, without a doubt. And Dobbins would be over Zeke in that format as well, probably.
Wait.
Brendan had a question in here. Asked us, do you think Gus Edwards is worth the stash? So we talked about him coming back already. JL, do you think Gus Edwards is worth the stash?
Maybe in a deep league, or if you need running back help, there's a chance that he comes back and takes a big enough chunk of this work in this Baltimore backfield to be like a running back, 4, maybe running back 3. So I don't think there's a ton of upside for Edwards here.
Pretty simple for me. If you have a free IR spot, throw him in there. If you don't need to hold him.
Do not need to hold him. You're not trying to hold him.
I wish you would have read it as it's written, Simon, because whenever that comment first came up, it was, do you guys think Gus? Yes, I do think Gus.
I think Gus.
Quite regularly, I think Gus. Gus Bus. Benchwarmers has put that in my head for the rest of forever. The cinematic masterpiece of
Benchwarmers. Such a good movie. I'm going to watch that later.
You're going to watch that today?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to watch Nacho Libre again instead of...
So I took a second to pull up the first down numbers. So Zeke so far this year has 20 first downs, which is tied for 9th with Christian McCaffrey. So the leaders are Nick Chubb has 29, Josh Jacobs 26, Miles Sanders 25, Aaron Jones 23, Ramondre 23, Dalvin Cook 22, Saquon 22, Pierce 21, McCaffrey and Elliott at 20. So, I mean, like the guy who's in second has 26, he has 20. So not really far off there. J.K. Dobbins, who has, missed a couple games there, has 10. But he missed, how many games did he miss?
Dobbins?
He missed 2 games. So not too far off of the pace. Dobbins a little bit behind, but not too far off. So, yeah. In that one, I think I might actually I might be pivoting to the side with Herbert. If it's not going to be that big a difference in first downs. I thought it would be a lot bigger, but Dobbins, it looks like, is getting about 20 divided by 6. So Zeke is getting 3.3 first downs per game. Dobbins is getting 2.5.
So slight advantage to Zeke. I mean, that's a decent advantage. That's a point a week, right? That's a point a week. Because we were talking a little bit about Justin Herbert there, and I remember seeing all of this on Twitter, and I wanted to ask you guys' opinion on something. So over the weekend, one of the big sports books offered a promotion. It was like a free square basically on your parlays for Justin Herbert to throw for a touchdown. And for some context, he had thrown for a touchdown in 26 straight starts. 36 of his 37 overall games he had thrown for a touchdown, and his 57 pass attempts are the most in NFL single game history for a quarterback that didn't throw a touchdown. And he didn't throw one. So they took all this money on a promotion that then doesn't pay out because Justin Herbert doesn't throw the touchdown. There were 2 sides on Twitter, the sides of this isn't a guarantee, you took it, it was likely, but this is part of the game. And there was the sides of this was supposed to be for free money, why aren't they paying it out? And this sportsbook is not paying it out. How do you guys feel about this when it's promoted as like a free square almost, or a free bet, and then it doesn't hit? And it's highly unlikely, but that's always a possibility. Do you think the sportsbook should pay it out?
Why would they spend the time to build out, or why would they spend the time to make it a half if that wasn't the game, right? You accepted the game, the terms of the game. And then to say, well, that's not in the spirit of the game is, to me, is just bad faith, right? Like you lost. And so now you're upset.
Right. Yeah. I think they pay it out if it hits. You don't pay it if it doesn't. That's stupid.
Otherwise, why wouldn't they just make it 0?
The thing is, the thing that does scare me is how lenient these sports books are and how friendly they are at times. It really shows you how scary gambling is at times. Is that when they'll come out and be like, "Oh, Naheem Hines got a concussion in the beginning of the game, so we're just going to honor all the bets." It's like they just want to make sure that you keep
bad beat policies.
So, I don't know, the bad beat policies. They keep you playing, but just be careful with the gambling, right?
Yeah, no, I'm with you, JL. Though I fully agree on that take. You went in there knowing it was a possibility that he didn't throw for a touchdown. It wasn't said it just mark this box. It's always possible, even if the guy does it every single week. You can't guarantee that it's going to happen this week. It is kind of funny though when you look at it though. I feel like that is of course that happened.
I had that thought.
The record, the most passes in a game without a touchdown. Not only did he not throw a touchdown, he threw the ball 57 times and didn't get into the end zone.
That's Joe Flacco territory.
That's Joe. Yeah, except Joe Flacco found the end zone at least 3 or 4 times with those numbers.
He's like, yeah, there it is. Over there, guys.
Yeah, and that's me just seeing Joe Flacco hit the end zone with the ball just over and over again. Just that's the game, right? We just have to hit it.
If the game was throw it out the back of the end zone and hit nothing, then Justin Herbert had a hell of a week.
Russell Wilson too.
Yeah, the 2 of them where it's just there were a couple plays where one with Eckler was open and Herbert just threw it away. Those guys are not interested in hanging onto the ball. But I guess when your ribs are keeping you awake at night because they're all
sliding off the bone.
Yeah, then I would be throwing it away immediately. So I can't really blame.
Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us this morning on the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. If you want more of us buffoons, check out our YouTube channel, Front Yard Fantasy. Hit that subscribe button. And a reminder today, 2 sick prizes given away on the Better Sports Network. You've got your Walt Clyde Frazier signed New York Knicks white basketball jersey going on at 11. And then your Dennis Rodman jersey being given away at 8 p.m. Eastern time. With Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla. So make sure you guys tune in for that. Right after this is Moose and Keith, where they're giving away that jersey. We are out of here. Until then, though, adios, everybody. Enjoy your Wednesday. It's Wednesday, my dudes. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hot pasta.
AutoZone.